Chapter 23, Conspiracy. Chapter 23, Conspiracy. Get out. In the dead of night, Zhuo was trying hard to staunch the flow of blood from his chest while sitting on the bed. Luo Yuncheng wanted to help him, but Zhuo's bellow drove her out. Despite winning against Yu Quan, his victory wasn't a sweet one. If not for his sneak attack, the fight would have been one-sided, a common occurrence when demonic cultivators were involved. But he felt a deep sense of powerlessness from today's fight. Although they were 4 layers apart, he believed himself to be a demonic emperor, that using all his power would have certainly finished off a kid still wet behind his ears. Yet reality showed that not only he couldn't win, but he also couldn't even get the upper hand in the fight. He had to rely on scheming to lure Veiled Dragon Pavilion out in the open and kill his enemy when he least expected by inciting chaos among the houses, while also providing the Luo clan a way out. It all went according to plan, yet it didn't leave a good taste in his mouth. Too weak. To get rid of their trouble with the Kai clan and Sun clan, they got tangled up in the 7 noble houses conflict. It was trading one poison for another. All was quiet for now, but they'd have to face the music sooner or later. Yet, with his meager power, he couldn't protect himself, let alone the Luo clan. I need to get stronger fast. Zhuo clenched his teeth and performed strange hand gestures as his eyes let out an eerie red light. At this moment, Kai Xiaoting was meditating in a room when a sudden ache in his abdomen twisted his face in pain. Beads of sweat rolled down his forehead and he soon passed out. A bloody light flashed from his abdomen and a palm-sized infant came out. It was Zhuo's blood infant. At the time he was in Kai Manor, Zhuo inserted the blood infant in Kai Xiaoting, to control Kai Rong. Because his movement was too fast, no one saw him. And under the threat of his son's life, Kai Rong was forced to let the Luo clan go. Thanks to the blood infant in Kai Xiaoting's body, Zhuo could monitor their affairs. He would get an early warning to any plan they might come up with. But now, spying on the Kai clan has lost its value. The blood infant saw the unconscious Kai Xiaoting and let out a sneer in Zhuo's voice, "Humph, I won't take your life so you could bear witness to the fall of the Kai clan." The blood infant then turned into a red light and flew outside. In a dark garden, a Kai clan guard was patrolling when a red light entered his body. He couldn't utter a sound as his body numbed. He soon shriveled up and a light wind scattered him to dust, leaving behind the red glow. In this manner, more than 30 guards disappeared from the Kai clan. In the tavern, Zhuo snickered and sent blood infant for the next prey. He and the blood infant were one. When the blood infant entered a cultivator, he used the demon transformation art to absorb the person's blood essence and yuan qi for Zhuo to refine later. He didn't plan on using the blood infant so soon, but he needed it to heal his heart. So he might as well reduce Kai clan's numbers while he was at it. The blood infant reached the qi condensation and even an early bone tempering expert would find it troublesome to fight with. As for qi condensation opponents, it would kill them in an instant. If Zhuo had the blood infant on him in his fight with Yu Quan, he could have won without having to resort to any schemes. He could only sigh as he thought of how it was the perfect match to have both the blood infant and the demon transformation art. Raising the blood infant was very difficult, and even Patriarch Blood Demon only reached Saint stage with it. Yet, thanks to the demon transformation art, Zhuo raised it to qi condensation after 10 days of hard work in the tavern. He did it during his previous seclusion. The first day he used to bind the blood infant and the rest to provide it with blood essence. Since the blood infant reached such a level, it was time for it to collect blood essence. And in a clan like the Kai clan, bone tempering experts were rare, so Zhuo wasn't afraid the blood infant would be harmed. This led to an unrestrained hunt as he sucked dry 50 more guards. But just when he planned to wipe away any Kai clan remnants, an eerie energy caught his attention. A demonic cultivator expert. Zhuo was startled and guided the blood infant to the source. It arrived near a small room, where a faint light burned. There were 24 peak qi condensation cultivators standing guard. It stirred Zhuo Fan's curiosity and drew Blood Infant to a window. As for those guards, they couldn't even detect the Blood Infant, not to mention see it. 3 elderly sat in the guest and main seats inside the room. The one in the main seat was Kai Rong. The first seat on his left was occupied by a bald old man with cloudy eyes and exuding a peculiar energy. Zhuo Fan recognized it in a second. It was from a demonic cultivator expert. The old man on Kai Rong's right wore noble attire and faint traces of demonic energy leaked from him. It showed he was in the middle of changing to a demonic cultivation method. Yet Kai Rong and the noble-dressed old man were showing great respect to the bald demonic cultivator. Can it be? Zhuo Fan felt he was onto something when clan head cupped his hands before the bald man. Elder Jian, to what do I owe the honor of your and clan head son's visit? Cloudy eyes stared at Kai Rong until he trembled. It was then that Elder Jian smiled. I'm sure you know that a disciple from my Hell Valley was killed today by a veiled dragon pavilion. Wasn't it done by the Luo clan? Kai Rong let out a dry laugh. You think the Luo clan would have the nerve? Elder Jian laughed as his cloudy eyes shined. The feud between my Hell Valley and Veiled Dragon Pavilion was at a stalemate where neither dared to make the first move and break the balance of the 7 houses. Yet the Veiled Dragon Pavilion used the Luo clan to kill my disciple. What are they aiming for? This made Zhuo Fan muffle his laughter. Just as he expected, these 7 houses were treated like kings for so many years that they would never believe anyone would challenge their authority. It was because of such raw arrogance that made them believe there was a deeper scheme involved instead of taking what happened at face value. Veiled Dragon Pavilion was no different, willing to accept this injustice instead of showing weakness. Then you visited me because, Kai Rong hesitated. Ha ha ha, nothing much, just help us to spy on Veiled Dragon Pavilion and understand their intent. It seems this event will trigger a battle between the houses. Elder Jian, that's the Veiled Dragon Pavilion. My Kai clan can't afford to offend them. Kai Rong panicked. He thought, why the hell are you 7 noble houses dragging my small clan into this? Shaking his head, Elder Jian said, Clan head Kai, don't misunderstand. There is no need for your clan to go head-to-head with Veiled Dragon Pavilion. It's just testing them, that is, dealing with the Luo clan and observing the Veiled Dragon Pavilion's reaction. What, Luo clan? Kai Rong was shocked. There wasn't anyone in the Windgaze city who didn't know of today's fight between Yu Quan and Zhuo Fan, that Luo clan was backed by the Veiled Dragon Pavilion. Yet here you are asking me to go make a mess of Luo clan. Isn't that the same as offending the Veiled Dragon Pavilion? Kai Rong looked over at clan head son, only to see him smile with a hint of schadenfreude. Damn you. Since you're so close with Hell Valley, why don't you go mess with Luo clan? Didn't your daughter make a scene today? But now that you saw them with the Veiled Dragon Pavilion, you don't dare move an inch. Kai Rong felt his tooth itch from hatred but didn't have the courage to refuse Hell Valley. To tell the truth, I hate that punk, Zhuo Fan, the most. He came to my clan a few days ago to look for trouble. I don't know what evil trick he used, but he made my son cough blood for several days and we still haven't found a cure. If I go after him, he would use the same trick to take my son's life. PFF. Before Kai Rong even finished, Zhuo Fan could barely hold his laughter. He left the blood infant inside Kai shouting to teach the Kai clan a lesson, but never used it again afterward. He didn't expect the clan head would use such a lame excuse to escape this predicament. Even Elder Jian was skeptical of Kai Rong's flowery speech and his face hardened. Upon seeing this, Kai Rong rushed to present an alternative. Elder Jian, clan head son is the best man for the job and is also close with Hell Valley. Letting him in charge of this task won't disappoint you. Hey, Kai Rong, what are you trying to pull? Clan head son jumped to his feet. Luo clan was a headache and they didn't know how tight its relation was with the Veiled Dragon Pavilion. If he'd instigated Veiled Dragon Pavilion's involvement when he messed with the Luo clan, he'd be ruined. Despite the Sun Clan and Hell Valley being related, the former was by no means one of the 7 noble houses. Getting on the Veiled Dragon Pavilion's wrong side was out of the question. It was unknown if the Hell Valley would stick its neck out for the Sun Clan. Going after Luo clan was plain suicide. Seeing the 2 clans proclaim loyalty by day and shirking off their duties at crucial times, Elder Jian snapped, "Enough, you useless fools, I don't need any of you. I will find someone else for the job. Also, Kai Rong, have you brought your spirit-ranked martial art, Wind Kick? Please inspect it, Elder Jian." Kai Clan rushed to present the jade slip, yet his eyes showed reluctance. "Elder Jian, this is the only spirit-ranked martial art the ancestors have passed down in my Kai Clan." "Fine, I won't take advantage of you." Snorting, Elder Jian threw him a jade slip. "This is the spirit-ranked martial art, Flaming Finger, a higher rank than yours." Kai Rong was overjoyed, expressing his thanks again and again. Zhuo Fan standing outside was puzzled. Is Hell Valley muddled to exchange a mid-spirit-ranked martial art for a lower one? "Elder Jian, who did you find to deal with Luo clan, if you don't mind me asking?" Ignoring the martial art the Hell Valley bestowed on Kai Rong, clan head Sun asked. Kai Rong pricked up his ears to catch the answer. Snickering, Elder Jian's eyes flashed with disdain. "You bunch of dogs, afraid someone might replace you? Humph, relax will you, that person is from Hell Valley. Does the Hell Valley plan to step forward?" Why, Kai Rong and clan head Sun didn't mind Elder Jian's disdain and were surprised. With an odd light in his eyes, Elder Jian said, "He is a spy we have long planted in the Blackwind Mountain." Blackwind Mountain. Zhuo Fan was so shocked his heart skipped a beat and his control over his energy slipped. "Who's there?" Elder Jian whipped his head and launched a palm attack. The door was blown to pieces as Blood Infant turned into a red streak of light and flew away. Only now did Elder Jian rush outside. So quick. Zhuo Fan's shock wasn't small, but luck was with him as the guards were surrounding the place. He grinned and urged the Blood Infant to enter one of them. Blood boil. The guards were in shock as Zhuo Fan's shout blew up the guard. With no time to dodge, all the others next to him lost their lives. Elder Jian's figure was blocked by the sudden explosion, allowing Blood Infant's escape. Kai Rong and clan head Sun saw the wretched aftermath and were frightened. What was that? Elder Jian shook his head, yet his face turned grave. "I don't know, but it must belong to a demonic cultivator." Chapter 24, Breakthrough Again. Chapter 24, Breakthrough Again. Whoosh! A red light streaked in the dead of night, passing through doors and entering Zhuo Fan's body. Letting out a breath, Zhuo Fan opened his eyes as he rejoiced. Fortunately, the Blood Infant was quick to escape or it would have been ruined by the Bald Elder. He never imagined he'd bump into such a strong opponent in the Kai clan. Even if he couldn't recognize the Elder's cultivation, he was certain the Elder was no less powerful than God I Longjio. And once Blood Infant was destroyed, because of Zhuo Fan's connection with it, it would spell doom for him too. But the opposite was also true. Even if his heart exploded, he wouldn't die as long as the Blood Infant lived, because the moment he bound with the Blood Infant, it became his heart. "I need to work harder on improving my strength." His vast experience told him danger was looming. For now, it looked like Hell Valley and Veiled Dragon Pavilion were silent, but the Blackwind Mountain might be the fuse to a disaster with the Luo clan smack in the middle. His fate rested on strengthening the Blood Infant to bone-tempering stage. This was the only way to ensure some semblance of control when he met an expert like Longjio. Zhuo Fan closed his eyes and refined the Yuan Qi and blood essence the Blood Infant collected. In the next moment, red flashes came from his chest as red energy coursed through his veins to his heart. As the energy gathered, the hole in his chest began to heal. His weak heartbeat soon started pounding with greater force. In but an hour, his chest healed, with not even a scar left behind. If one didn't witness his heart exploding, they wouldn't believe the events of this morning occurred. He continued refining blood infants gathered yuan qi and turning into black energy. One part flowed into his dantian and another back to the blood infant. No less than 50 qi condensation experts yuan qi were refined and propelled Zhuo Fan through the third layer of qi condensation and to the brink of entering the fourth layer. With a faint boom, Zhuo Fan and blood infant broke through to the fourth layer. Zhuo Fan was happy. It was so easy to increase one's strength. It was only 10 days ago that he entered the second layer and here he was now in the fourth. But when he wanted to work towards the fifth layer, he found blood infant's yuan qi reserves had been spent. He wanted to keep going, but he was satisfied he at least advanced 2 layers in one go. He looked out the window at the clearing sky and walked out to stretch his legs. Now that Blackwind Mountain was coming, he had to find a safe haven for the Luo clan. Zhuo Fan opened the door to his room but before he could take a step, a thump resounded and something fell at his feet. He looked to see a drowsy Luo Yunchang getting back up in embarrassment. "What are you doing?" Zhuo Fan frowned. He poured all his focus on controlling the blood infant last night and then cultivating, so he didn't pay attention to what happened outside his room to the point he didn't detect her. Damn it! How could I become so careless? If it were an enemy instead, I would have been dead. Seeing his angry look, Luo Yunchang was apologetic as she mumbled, "I was worried about your wounds worsening and waited outside. Now that you're alright, I'll be going." "Wait, you stood guard all night?" Zhuo Fan was shocked. Luo Yunchang blushed and turned to leave with a hurried pace than before. Captain Pang took this moment to appear and saw Zhuo safe and sound and shouted in joy, "Brother Zhuo, you've recovered. That wound of yours scared all of us to death. Young Miss always stayed at your door, worried for your life." Where is she?" "She left." Zhuo Fan rubbed his nose and said calmly, yet warmth grew in his heart. Damn this heart demon. Zhuo Fan cursed. How could the glorious demonic emperor feel anything for a mere woman? This must be the work of the kid's heart demon. Right, old Pang, you came right on time. Come with me to the Veiled Dragon Pavilion. But what about young Miss Anne? Relax, after yesterday's event, no one would dare touch them, if not for fear of offending Veiled Dragon Pavilion, Zhuo Fan snickered. Captain Pang had to take a moment to recover and reacted by giving thumbs up as his eyes glittered with worship. He didn't get Zhuo Fan's plan but he was clear Zhuo Fan made others misunderstand Veiled Dragon Pavilion was backing Luo clan. Steward Zhuo, I am now thoroughly convinced. If the Luo clan doesn't have you as a steward, we would have been doomed. It was a waste of your talents to have left you sweeping the courtyard back in the day. Laughing, Zhuo Fan patted Captain Pang's shoulder and shook his head. That person wasn't me. 15 minutes later found the two at the gates of Veiled Dragon Pavilion, before the same 2 guards. But this time, they showed proper respect. Please enter, dear guests. What, you won't go and report first? Zhuo Fan mocked. After giving a silly laugh, a guard knew Zhuo Fan was still bothered by what happened before and apologized, "It was us who were ignorant before and didn't recognize your greatness. You made a deal of 1,000,000 spirit stones. We do not have the right to block such an honorable guest. Humph, snobs." Zhuo Fan sneered then took Captain Pang inside, leaving the guards still bent and flattering him. They were clearly miserable inside but still plastered a fake smile on their faces. The two ran into Long Kuei. This time, she lacked the respect she showed before and snorted in anger as she walked away. How did we offended her?" Captain Pang was baffled. Zhuo Fan smiled. "Young Miss Long Kuei, is this how Veiled Dragon Pavilion treats its guests?" "Humph, how are you guests?" Raising an eyebrow, she glared at him, "You don't deserve to be guests when you used us." Rubbing his chin, Zhuo Fan smiled and muttered, "Still just a girl, and so naive." Zhuo Fan's voice was faint but not enough to prevent the disdain in his voice from reaching Long Kuei. She was treated as the jewel of the clan, and never received such contempt, especially from people around her age. "Zhuo Fan, Who are you calling naive? You, of course. Zhuo Fan smiled. Be it business or the politics between the 7 houses, everything must be taken into consideration when looking to make a profit. Yet you are prone to anger just from being used in someone else's plan. Just how did you survive this long? Compared to you, Long Jia is much more mature. He realized I used him and just walked away instead. The way I see it, admitting a loss is also a kind of power. At least the next time I plan on using him, it won't be as easy. This was the first time Long Kuei heard such an argument and was stunned. She came from the clan's estate and was put in Long Jio's care. The elders in the estate spoke highly of her talent but not enough to entrust her with heavy responsibility. When she arrived here, Long Jio spoke the same. Her talent wasn't any less than Long Jia, but Long Jio didn't trust her in being responsible. She didn't understand, but now it seemed she was clear on something. Love, hate, closeness, and vengeance won't help you, only benefits. Zhuo Fan saw her bewildered eyes and chuckled. Let's set aside our personal grievances and talk about business. It is also where your talent lies. Long Kuei thought for a bit and nodded. But just then a light cough came, along with an aged voice. Mr. Zhuo Fan, let's talk. The 3 of them looked to see Long Jio accompanied by Long Jia walking towards them. But Long Jia couldn't mask a glint of shock as he gazed upon Zhuo Fan. Yesterday, he saw Zhuo Fan's heart exploding, but now, he was walking like it never happened. His breath was even and spoke calmly. Did he recover in one night? How? Grandpa Zhou, won't you give this young one a chance? Not paying any heed to Long Jia's shock, Zhuo Fan spoke. Shaking his head, Long Jio laughed. Ha ha ha, just from talking with you, I ended up being used in the end. To think you still dare to come here. If I knew your true colors before, I would have taken you as a 1,000-year-old monster taking shelter in the Luo clan. Damn. I almost got found out. Zhuo Fan forced a laugh as he dismissed him. You're too kind, Grandpa Zhou. How can I compare to you? Cut the crap. Long Jio switched tones in an instant and said harshly, why are you here? I am looking for a safe house for the Luo clan to live in. Does Grandpa Zhou know of a good place? Stroking his beard, Long Jio replied, why should I help you? Simple, Veiled Dragon Pavilion owes us. Also, Zhuo Fan laughed eerily, it will help you watch over us more easily. Long Jio's eyes squinted as his heart trembled in shock. This punk can see through anyone. Ever since killing Yu Quan yesterday, Veiled Dragon Pavilion has been on the defensive. With how tense our relation with Hell Valley is now, a battle might break out at any time. And Luo clan was a variable because of their connection with Veiled Dragon Pavilion. No one dared to mess with it, but it also allowed the Luo clan to do whatever it wanted. One wrong move and it could trigger a war between the houses. This was why Long Jio placed surveillance over the Luo clan. Yet, Zhuo Fan went and exposed it. This left Long Jio feeling apprehensive. What is this punk scheming? He never imagined a veteran practitioner a century old would one day be toyed with by a punk. And he didn't understand the whole picture either, leaving him with an unpleasant feeling. Chapter 25, Array Grandmaster. Chapter 25, Array Grandmaster. Looking for proofreaders for this novel. Seeing the old man hesitating, Zhuo Fan smiled, guess I'll have to suffer a loss and give you something. Humph, what could you possibly know that the Veiled Dragon Pavilion doesn't? Long Kuei stuck her chin with disdain. Zhuo Fan smiled, I have heard of the Veiled Dragon Pavilion boundless strength, but the cat and mouse each have its own means. What I know doesn't mean you do as well. Long Kuei grinned unconvinced. Long Jia also shook his head. But only Long Jio fixed his single eye on Zhuo Fan. Long Jio wouldn't even care if it were anyone else. But it concerned Zhuo Fan, who gave them too many shocks these past days. He began to add a certain importance to the youth before him. Let's hear it. Snickering, Zhuo Fan said, "Did you know Hell Valley's men are already here?" "What?" Long Zhuo shouted in shock. Since the founding of the empire, the 7 noble houses' domains had clear boundaries. Windgaze City was Veiled Dragon Pavilions and no other house was allowed to establish a branch here or it would be taken as provocation and war would break out. Of course, their disciples were the exception, as it could be seen from Veiled Dragon Pavilion ignoring Yuquan's arrival. However, this didn't extend to elders or similar experts, they needed consent first. Zhuo Fan knew of this rule from Luo Yunchang and was now probing. It went just as he thought. From their faces, they had no idea the bald old man was here. "Impossible, we have scouts all over Windgaze City and no one can escape our notice." Long Jia shook his head with a grim look. "Humph, don't listen to him. He just wants to scare us." Long Kuei glared at Zhuo Fan. Only Long Jiu spoke in a grave tone, "What proof do you have?" Zhuo Fan smiled, "None." "So you're just running your mouth." Long Kuei threw a despising glare his way. Zhuo Fan laughed, but his appearance was that of a bald old man, with Kai Rong and clan head's son calling him Elder Jian. Condor Jian Fan. Long Jiu's only eye squinted as his power exploded. It was so strong none of the others around him could breathe, stepping back again and again. Only after a while did he calm down. Zhuo Fan gasped as his heart shivered. Long Jiu's power contained naked killing intent that shocked even him. "Grandpa Jiu, you've met that old man?" Zhuo Fan probed. "Not only met him. That man ruined Uncle Jiu's god eye." Long Jia explained. Zhuo Fan was in joy. "I was scared you had no grievances. Now that I know you're archenemies, it couldn't be better. Restrain your anger, Grandpa Jiu." Zhuo Fan switched to a fake compassionate tone. Waving, Long Jiu's eye glinted with coldness. "All right, since you spoke of his appearance, I'll believe you. You can take the courtyard 100 yards from here." "Thank you, Grandpa Jiu." Zhuo Fan clasped his hands and walked away with Captain Pang. But after a couple of steps, Long Jiu spoke coldly, "Kid, where's that geezer?" Stopping, Zhuo Fan replied, "Kai clan, but it's more likely he's in the Sun clan now." "I see." Long Jiu nodded as the bones in his fists crackled. Once Zhuo Fan was out of sight, he spoke, Jia, report it to the clan so they can send some elders. I won't let Jian Fan leave this place alive. Also, stay for now in that courtyard and look after the Luo clan. I don't want them to do anything that might scare away Jian Fan. Uncle Jiu, he is a Hell Valley elder, if he dies here, it will trigger a war between our houses." Long Jia showed his worry. "Humph, it is he who doesn't follow the rules and sneaked my domain. If I let him live, I won't be able to live with the regret of him taking my eye." Seeing his advice falling on deaf ears, Long Jia sighed and left with Long Kuei. Though they left, they could still hear Long Jiu's angry laughter. The next morning, Zhuo Fan took the siblings and Captain Pang to their new home. This was where the Veiled Dragon Pavilion received their honored guests. It was far larger than the reception house where they were welcomed before. It was the best place in town. In a short while, Luo clan was the talk of the town, of how they were under Veiled Dragon Pavilion's close care. Everyone knew the Veiled Dragon Pavilion supported them, or they wouldn't have placed them in one of their courtyards, protected day in day out. Kai clan and Sun clan rejoiced they didn't accept Elder Jian's task. Just from today's circumstances, it was clear that any who dared to harm the Luo clan would face the wrath of Veiled Dragon Pavilion. Just like that, the moment the Luo clan stepped foot in their new home, it was publicly declared as the #1 clan in the Windgaze City. They were held above even the Kai clan and Sun clan, despite being a small clan of 4. "Are we going to live here from now on?" Being the first to enter, Luo Yunchang was shocked by the imposing atmosphere of the place, including the sheer number of guards around them, all chi condensation experts. Adding to them were 24 more golden armored guards staying vigilant. They were clearly bone-tempering experts. Such guards could only be seen in the 7 noble houses. Luo Yunhai and Captain Pang were struck dumb. The latter was even in awe by the number of experts, while the former inquisitive. Old Pang, when the Luo clan recovers, what do you think of becoming the leader of such a team? Zhuo Fan patted his shoulder. Captain Pang shyly shook his head, any guard here is stronger than me. It is great if I can be as strong as them, but I don't dare lead them. Despite saying that, his eyes flashed with hope. Zhuo Fan laughed, that day will come. But a sudden mocking laughter reached them, Mr. Zhuo Fan, you not only lie to others but even lie to your own people. A steward like you is only good at conning. Many turned to see Long Jia and Long Kuei walking over. Ever since she realized Zhuo Fan made use of Veiled Dragon Pavilion, she lost all amiable pretense with Zhuo Fan. With Captain Pang's talent, he'd reached the 6th layer chi condensation at best. Such a man is but a basic guard to us, not a captain. I advise your little clan not to dream for something out of reach. Luo Yunchang and Captain Pang saddened while Zhuo Fan steeled his face. Young Miss Long Kuei, as the saying goes, don't mock a destitute youth. Your words are too harsh. Humph, what youth am I mocking? That's just an excuse to deceive dreamers. Every glorious clan built their way over thousands of years to reach the top. Don't think you can rely on your wit to stay under Veiled Dragon Pavilion's protection forever. In my eyes, Windgaze City is but a grain of sand. Even if you're a king or overlord here, you'd only be a frog in a well, oblivious to the vast world outside. Hearing her incessant babbling, Zhuo Fan laughed. Oblivious to the vast world? A frog in a well? If anything worked as it should, the glorious demonic emperor wouldn't have fallen from sacred domain. In his eyes it was this Tianyu Empire who was the speck, to say nothing of the Veiled Dragon Pavilion. Zhuo Fan. Seeing him angry, Luo Yunchang pulled his hand with a frown. They shouldn't offend their protector. Long Jia also felt Long Kuei crossed the line and shook his head after drawing her attention. But the lady only snorted. Young miss, lend me some spirit stones. Zhuo Fan said coldly. Luo Yunchang was startled. She didn't know what he wanted to do, but she gave him a ring containing what he requested. Zhuo Fan jumped on the highest point on the roof and overlooked the area. Hey, this isn't your home. Get down from there. Long Kuei barked. Ignoring her, Zhuo Fan spoke, 3rd grade, coiling dragon array. Long Kuei and Long Jia were shocked. Zhuo Fan's words spoke of the array Long Jiao set up in this place, yet this kid saw through it with one look. Yet before the shock lessened, Zhuo Fan jumped and spread spirit stones around him from the ring. In 15 minutes, close to 10,000 spirit stones were buried in the courtyard. When Zhuo Fan landed, Long Kuei asked, "What are you trying to do?" Zhuo Fan began making hand signs. In an instant, the ground trembled and dragon roars resounded, followed by 9 golden dragons bursting out of the ground. The dragons spread across the sky above Windgaze City for all to see. Elder Jian, who was in a hidden room in the Sun Clan. He opened his eyes and stared in shock. Who's setting up the array? Is it that geezer? No, he doesn't have the skill to set up one such as this. In Veiled Dragon Pavilion, Long Jiao shot to his feet as he watched in astonishment. Is that my coiling dragon array? No, my array isn't as strong. On Blackwind Mountain, a sinister youth turned to Windgaze City's direction with a frown. What's going on in the city? Was the plan pushed forward? But he soon shook his head. No, Elder Jian isn't impulsive. What could have happened? Everyone's eyes turned to this strange light. After 15 minutes, Zhuo Fan's hand signs changed and the 9 golden dragons returned to the earth of the courtyard. It was soon followed by a golden glow that spread all over it. What did you do? Long Kuei stammered. Zhuo Fan ignored her again and showed deep respect as he presented the ring to Luo Yunchang. Young miss, I noticed the 3rd grade coiling dragon array lacked in strength to safeguard young miss' safety. As such, I took it upon myself to upgrade it to the 5th grade 9 Heavens Coiling Dragon Array. I have wasted spirit stones, please punish me, young miss. What? Long Jia and Long Kuei were gobsmacked. There were but a handful of people who could set a 5th grade array in the Tianyu Empire. Not even the 7 houses had such a talent. But this kid had just simply deployed one. Was he a 5th grade array master? Luo Yunchang knew Zhuo did it on purpose to humiliate them, then deferred to her. This was also the first time she saw him so subdued. It was the perfect moment to install her rightful status as a young miss onto him. Luo Yunchang smiled inside, yet her face was stone cold. Steward Zhuo, I should punish you for taking so many spirit stones without consent. But I won't blame you as you did it for our sake. Let's go. What? Punishment? Not even the 7 noble houses would dare rebuke such a lofty existence. Long Kuei looked as if she had a fly stuck in her throat. Soon, Zhuo Fan accompanied Luo Yunhai as they swaggered inside, to the endless shock of the others and the snickering of Captain Pang and Luo Yunhai. Only Long Jia and Long Kuei stood there with their hearts in chaos. They never thought it possible for a scheming second-layer Qi condensation Zhuo Fan to also be a 5th grade array master. How could an unknown clan have such a talent? Chapter 26, Invitation. Chapter 26, Invitation. Looking for proofreaders for this novel. Whoosh! With a sudden boom, a figure appeared before the two. It was Long Zhuo. His eyes were filled with excitement. Who set up the array just now? It's... The two looked long at each other before Long Jia replied, Luo Clan's steward, Zhuo Fan. What, him? Long Zhuo turned to the array, and the more he examined it, the more shocked he got. An array master needs to know each array as the back of his hand and pours years and years into understanding heaven and earth. At my age, I can only set up 3rd grade arrays, so how can a pup set up a 5th grade array so quickly? Long Zhuo seemed to be asking Long Kuei and Long Jia, but it also seemed to be asking himself. The two only shook their heads. It was unknown what kind of man Zhuo Fan was, as he kept doing extraordinary and shocking things again and again. Even the two of them, born in a powerful clan, no longer dared to underestimate Zhuo Fan. They even felt inferior. Go and call the kid over. No, invite him. I want to speak to him. Taking a look around, Long Zhuo grinned. The two cupped their hands and followed his order. Soon, in a pavilion in the garden behind the courtyard, Long Zhuo served tea at a stone table. It didn't take long before Zhuo Fan came in, followed by Long Jia and Long Kuei. Ha ha ha, brother Zhuo Fan, sit. Long Zhuo laughed as he invited him. Long Jia and Long Kuei were shocked. Brother Zhuo Fan. Long Zhuo had a high position in the clan, as such, the two of them called him uncle. Yet a proud man like Long Zhuo only respected a handful of people in the Tianyu Empire. But to call this kid brother left the two stumped. Zhuo Fan took it in stride, however, sitting without hesitation. In his eyes, this was a world where the strong were respected. With enough strength, even this old man's grandpa would call him brother. Why has Bro Zhuo called for me? Zhuo Fan wasn't a stickler for rules and poured himself some tea. He didn't seem to know the meaning of shame as he called Long Zhuo bro without so much as a blush. Long Kuei couldn't even react. Long Jia rolled his eyes, cursing him for being shameless and taking advantage of circumstances. But Long Zhuo was overjoyed. Their relationship was now tighter, and that was a good thing for him. Brother Zhuo Fan, since you called me Bro Zhuo, I won't mince words. I'll be honest with you, brother. For a 5th grade array master to stay in a fallen clan like the Luo clan is a sin. It's best if you join the Veiled Dragon Pavilion. We will even treat you as a venerable. Even the clan head will have to show you respect. Long Kuei and Long Jia never imagined Long Zhuo wanted to invite Zhuo Fan as Veiled Dragon Pavilion's venerable. That was the highest status in the Veiled Dragon Pavilion, even higher than an elder. How could a kid, still wet behind his ears, receive such honor? Then again, Zhuo Fan was a 5th grade array master only in the Qi condensation stage. Any of the 7 houses would invite such a person to be a venerable. Asking him to join the Veiled Dragon Pavilion was for the clan's future. Zhuo Fan sipped tea with a smile. He knew of Long Zhou's intention even before he came. Who wouldn't fight and seize a 5th grade array master in such an empire? Even the emperor would have to show him courtesy. He foresaw this even as he set up the array. Brother Zhuo Fan, what do you say? Long Zhou asked again. Zhuo Fan grinned, I have one condition. If it's in Veiled Dragon Pavilion's power, you can ask for anything. Long Zhou expressed his consent. Even making her serve me tea, rub my feet, and warm my bed? Zhuo Fan pointed at Long Kuei. Long Kuei's cheeks flared red with anger, keep dreaming. Long Zhou had to shake his head in embarrassment, it's impossible with little Kuei. Ha ha ha, it's just a joke. I already have a young miss, so why would I look for another? Zhuo Fan's eyes were radiant as he turned serious, I want the Luo siblings, forever safe. Zhuo Fan paused after each word. Long Zhou showed his admiration. He never expected for Zhuo Fan's condition to be just this. Such devotion inspired respect from the 3 around him. Even the always angry Long Kuei looked at him longer. I agree. As long as the Veiled Dragon Pavilion exists, the Luo clan, not only this generation but its descendants will also live in peace. Smiling, Zhuo Fan sipped his tea again. Then from now on, you are Veiled Dragon Pavilion's venerable. I will report it to the clan and 3 days later, I will ask Jia to escort you to the clan estate. Wait. Zhuo Fan raised his hand, I didn't agree. What? But just now, Long Zhou stood in panic then glared at Zhuo Fan, Brother Zhuo, were you messing around? Zhuo Fan turned serious, if it were 15 minutes ago, I would have agreed without hesitation. But now? What about now? Long Zhou's beard trembled. Shaking his head, Zhuo Fan let out a mysterious smile as his voice turned cold, young Miss Long Kuei, do you remember what you said? Zhuo Fan extended his fist, within 10 years, I will make the Luo clan stand above the 7 houses. He downed the tea in one gulp and smacked the cup on the table as he left. Long Kuei had a strange feeling watching his back. It was impossible for a small clan to rise above the 7 noble houses in 10 years, even if he was a 5th grade array master. The 7 noble houses' reserves weren't something he alone could overcome. But Zhuo Fan's confidence left her without retort. Little Kuei, what did you say? Long Zhou turned to the 2. From Zhuo Fan's expression, he knew Zhuo Fan was not lying. So, something must have happened earlier. Long Kuei only stared at Zhuo Fan's back as Long Jia spoke after hesitating. Long Zhou shook his head after hearing the story, I've said already not to insult people and cut at their shortcomings. You've insulted the Luo clan and they are sure to not take it lying down. But, what he said can't be achieved. Long Jia muttered. Long Zhou stroked his beard, Luo clan has a 5th grade array master. Even if it won't rise above the 7 houses, it will still be well known in the land. It's best to get closer to it. We were so close to having him as venerable, Long Zhou sighed as he fixed his eye on Long Kuei. Regarding Zhuo Fan, he went to Luo Yunchang, his mind going a mile a minute. He could have completely put his heart demon to rest but chose not to because of Long Kuei's words. Pipe dream? If we can't even dream, our only choice is to leave it up to fate. Demonic cultivators walked in defiance of heaven, fighting for their own fates. Zhuo Fan thus hated when someone told him that any goals he had was a pipe dream, that he should feel grateful for his fate. He had to prove to everyone that even a fallen clan could reach the top one day. He no longer helped the Luo clan just for the sake of his heart demon, but also for his path as a demonic cultivator. Nothing in this world is impossible. If heaven stands in my way, I will kill it. My fate is my own and not heaven's. The day shall come when he would rebuild this ruined clan to the best the world had ever seen. As long as demonic Emperor Zhuo Yifan was here, nothing was impossible. Bam! Zhuo Fan slammed the door open full of anger. Luo Yunhai, Luo Yunchang, and Captain Pang were startled. Luo Yunchang hesitated before building up the courage to speak to him. Zhuo Fan, what did Grandfather Zhuo want? He invited me to join Veiled Dragon Pavilion. The three's faces saddened. Despite being downhearted inside, Luo Yunchang strained a smile. Congratulations, Veiled Dragon Pavilion will offer you a far more glorious future than Luo clan. She had a guess Zhuo Fan's talent as a 5th grade array master would attract the 7 houses invitation. The Luo clan would find it impossible to hold on to such a man. Zhuo Fan snorted, what are you sad about? I declined. What? Shock was seen, but happiness was the most obvious emotion. Why? Just because. I'll be in my room. Zhuo Fan left without answering. But just before he was gone, he said coldly, young miss, don't interfere in any future matters of the Luo clan, be it big or small. Luo Yunchang nodded absent-minded. Wasn't it like this so far? Why did he bring this up? Zhuo Fan then seemed to talk to her but also to himself. From now on, I am Luo clan's steward. In 10 years, I will raise the Luo clan above the Veiled Dragon Pavilion. His figure left with the last word, leaving the three in shock. Chapter 27, Capturing a Bandit. Chapter 27, Capturing a Bandit. Looking for proofreaders for this novel. For the next 10 odd days, there was not a shadow of Zhuo Fan gracing the small courtyard in the Veiled Dragon Pavilion. Not only Long Kuei, not even Luo clan's members saw him. After his bold words that day, Zhuo Fan worked harder on cultivation, locked up in his room. He only let Blood Infant roam free at night to gather Yuan Qi. His target, the Kai clan. As such, Clan head Kai was dejected all this time. His guards shrank in numbers with each passing day, without so much as a trace left behind. This left him wondering if the Luo clan he offended asked Veiled Dragon Pavilion to deal with his clan. In his opinion, only the 7 noble houses had such dreadful power to reap his guards without notice. As such, Kai Rong's heart grew heavier, to the point his son balled up under his blanket, shivering at night, afraid he would be next. To the living, it wasn't death that was scary, but the wait before. Father and son felt the crawling of time in the agony of fear. He also thought of seeking Hell Valley's help. But ever since it got his family martial art, it cut off all ties. This only went to further prolong Kai Rong's agony as he shouted out his frustration one day in his room. No demonic cultivator was trustworthy, but he was in too deep to turn back now. Zhuo Fan took them all in stride with a sneer. As for the Sun clan, he let the Blood Infant pay them a few visits too. However, Elder Jian was there, so there were many close calls to getting caught. And as of late, many great powers have been present there, so Zhuo Fan avoided entering. He only left Blood Infant to monitor at the gates. On this day, as per usual, the Blood Infant ate a dozen Kai clan guards, then staked Kai clan's gates for a bit before returning to the little courtyard, pleased. Just as he was about to enter his home, a trace of energy caught his eye. Zhuo Fan frowned in his room as the Blood Infant hid its energy. Soon, in a corner across from the little courtyard, a shadow was reflected in his eyes. That person was watching his home. Humph, no one dares to step inside Veiled Dragon Pavilion's territory, yet this one does. He must be from Blackwind Mountain. Zhuo Fan grinned. He recalled Elder Jian telling it wasn't the Kai clan nor the Sun clan who'd come after the Luo clan, but a third party unrelated to them, Blackwind Mountain. If the Luo clan fell, Hell Valley was spared of all liability. But how were a bunch of bandits going to enter the little courtyard? You think this is the Cloud Manor? Raising an eyebrow, Zhuo Fan guided the Blood Infant after the person in black. Because Blood Infant's hidden energy, it wasn't found out. After taking stock of the surrounding, the bandit left, followed by a red trace. An hour later, the person jumped through a window of a tavern and the Blood Infant floated to peer inside. Zhuo Fan saw 7 strong men and a 17-year-old girl to the side. They were all waiting for the person in black to speak. "Young miss, how's the situation?" Before the person in black spoke, the girl poured tea and spoke with concern. Zhuo Fan was taken aback. A woman? He never expected the leader of the Blackwind Mountain Bandits to be a woman. Were they looking down on the fact that the Luo clan had only 4 members? Zhuo Fan shook his head. He saw the person in black remove her veil to reveal a pair of bright eyes, black hair flowing down to her waist, with fair and unblemished skin worthy of the title beauty. Even the men couldn't help but swallow dryly and stare. But the woman's glare made them lower their heads. "Xiao Chui, get me a pen and paper." Being shouted to, the girl rushed to obey. The beauty drew in detail for 15 minutes. The contents shocked Zhuo Fan. That was Veiled Dragon Pavilion's little courtyard in minute detail. He had to admit, making such a map after one night of staking earned a thumbs up from him. She wasn't the leader for nothing. Look closely. Here, and here are guards. The 4 corners here have bone tempering experts. "Young miss, this is Veiled Dragon Pavilion, how do we proceed?" "By the look of things, we'll be dead before we even make it through the door." One man wiped his sweat from fear. The woman dismissed him. "Relax, senior brother got in contact with Hell Valley's men and said they will distract the guards. We just need to capture Luo Yunchang and kill the rest." "What? She isn't a man, so why capture young Miss for?" Zhuo Fan was baffled, but not worried. Even without the guards, he still had the 9 heavens coiling dragon array. They were ants throwing their lives away. But what caught his attention was that Blackwind Mountain and Hell Valley were connected. They were being exploited just like the Kai clan, but on a much deeper level. Young miss, there's something you might not like to hear, but it concerns our lives." "Say it." Waving her hand, the girl spoke calmly. The man hesitated before firming his resolve. "Young miss, the young lord and Hell Valley are connected and will listen to him. Even if Hell Valley's men help us, the Veiled Dragon Pavilion is still one of the 7 noble houses. Offending them will leave us with no place to hide." "Will the Hell Valley shelter us then?" "If they abandon us instead, death will be our only outcome." "Humph, that's like saying you're scared of dying. Don't you think you're letting down Mountain Lord with your words? For helping Camp Lord recover, for his revenge, the least we can do is stake our lives." Her words brought shame on their faces. She glared at them and shouted, "Withdraw. Follow the predetermined plan without fail." "Yes." They cupped their hands and shouted with respect. When they left, they were resolute with staring death in the face. "Not bad." Zhuo Fan raised an eyebrow as he left the room. Now it was his turn. When all the people left, the girl clapped her hands in glee. "Young miss is amazing, like a true mountain lord." Shaking her head, the woman sighed, "If Godfather was back to health, he'd do it far better." No one on Blackwind Mountain would have doubted him, nor questioned his orders. "Maybe, but they still believe in young miss." The woman shook her head. "Xiao Chui, don't comfort me. I only hope to cure my adoptive father once we get the returning dragon palm. Young miss will succeed in her filial duty." The girl giggled. However, it was now that a faint sigh reached them. "Girl, filial and success are different things. Moreover, who told you the returning dragon palm can heal wounds? Who's there?" The woman and the girl turned to find Zhuo Fan sitting on the window frame with a smile. "No need to panic, I have no ill intent. I just came to chat and clear some things up." Zhuo Fan made a friendly gesture. "Who exactly are you?" The woman drew Xiao Chui 2 steps behind her. She didn't realize Zhuo Fan was spying on them. If he wanted her life, she'd be dead by now. Oh, I haven't introduced myself. Zhuo Fan bowed. I am Luo clan's steward, Zhuo Fan. What, the Luo clan? The woman's eyes squinted and gnashed her teeth, then die. She stabbed with 2 fingers. Piercing lightning danced between her fingers as if it wanted to shatter the skies. Zhuo Fan was a bit startled. 9th layer of qi condensation, spirit-ranked martial art? He'd never expected for the last to be so strong and even wield a spirit-ranked martial art to boot. Her power was close to a bone-tempering cultivator. Unfortunately, she met Zhuo Fan. He mocked all those below bone tempering. Because he had the blood infant. With a hand sign, a red light flashed from his body into the woman. Her body froze, yet the lighting still buzzed between her fingers. She was afraid. What did you do to me? Grinning, Zhuo Fan shook his head. Nothing, I am only controlling your body. And then grabbed her 2 fingers. Cancel. In an instant, the piercing lightning died out. Blood infant was born of blood and controlled blood. This, in turn, led to the control of the whole body. Only strong cultivation and yuan qi could repel such restrictions. But this was because the blood infant was still weak. If it was in the saint stage, even an emperor would find it hard to deal with. Come with me. Zhuo Fan hugged her waist. She could do nothing but let the strange man embrace her as they went. Young miss. Xiao Chui shouted. Zhuo Fan turned and thought of something. Oh, forgot about you. His hand grabbed her shoulder and the lass blanked out. Xiao Chui was just a servant that had yet to enter qi condensation. Thus, as the first rays of dawn graced the earth, Zhuo Fan walked to his home embracing 1 girl and 1 woman. Chapter 28, Interrogation. Chapter 28, Interrogation. Looking for proofreaders for this novel. Whoosh. As dawn approached, Zhuo Fan carried a pretty girl in each hand to his courtyard. The guards were taken aback seeing this steward locked up for 10 odd days, only to follow up with a knowing smile. One even teased, Steward Zhuo, last night must have been exhausting for you. Long Kuei happened to pass by and saw him with 2 beauties. She frowned and rolled her eyes as she walked away with large steps. She ignored him while her mouth kept criticizing, men are all the same. Zhuo Fan didn't care that they misunderstood and threw the 2 in his room. He closed the door and sat on a chair. Ow! Xiao Chui recovered from hitting the ground and rubbed her eyes. Where is this? But shouted when her eyes landed on the other woman, young miss, are you all right? The woman laid motionless on the floor, presenting her delectable assets to Zhuo Fan to see. Smiling, Zhuo Fan moved his finger and she regained her freedom. The woman rose in a flash and reached for her ankle. Her hand now had a dagger that rushed at Zhuo's neck. Yet, only a groan came as the dagger stopped an inch from his throat as she froze in place. Zhuo Fan admired her with a sneer, nice skills, but that won't work on me. I only invited you over to clarify some things. If you are honest, I will let you go. Also, it's best if you don't bare your fangs at me again. Zhuo Fan took the dagger from her hand, then spared a second glance to her shapely body. Oh, we'd have to make sure you have nothing else hiding on you. Zhuo Fan adopted the frisking posture. The woman turned beet red. You dare? His hand stopped as Zhuo Fan looked into her eyes. Whether I dare or not depends on you. Then his tone turned grave. Who are you? What are you doing in Windgaze City? The woman ignored him. Whoosh! Zhuo Fan ripped a part of her clothing wrapped around her waist and threw it to the ground. Ah! With a shriek the woman's anger exploded. Her eyes seemed to spew fire, yet Zhuo Fan couldn't care less. Xiao Chui rushed over and smacked Zhuo Fan with her tender fists. Bastard, how dare you do that to young miss? Zhuo Fan's other hand moved with ease and some of Xiao Chui's clothing fell on the floor. She was stunned for a second before shooting back and holding her clothes tighter with tears swelling in her eyes. Zhuo Fan was nonplussed, asking in the same calm voice, Who are you? What are you doing in Windgaze City? Gnashing her teeth, the woman bit her lips in answer. Her clothing was torn to shreds before as Zhuo Fan repeated with coldness, Who are you? What are you doing in Windgaze City? Zhuo Fan's cruelty was akin to a heartless machine that brought fear to the woman's heart. She finally relaxed her clenched jaw. I am Blackwind Mountain Lord's goddaughter, Lei Yuding. I have come to Windgaze City to end the Luo clan. Why? Zhuo Fan's face was unfeeling as if it had nothing to do with him. This only worked to stoke Lei Yuding's fear. This man didn't look human in her eyes. Hell Valley will distract the guards while we sneak in. Zhuo Fan nodded satisfied. He knew this beforehand and asked this to shred her heart's defenses. The next question was something he wanted to know the most. What's your connection with Hell Valley? What do they get by helping you? Lei Yuding was at a loss too. I don't know. Zhuo Fan kept his eyes on her, and when he found her answer truthful, how are you in contact with Hell Valley? Who mediates? Lei Yuding's eyes shook but her lips pursed. Zhuo Fan had a guess but he wanted to hear it from her, so he ripped Lei Yuding's shirt. Her body was exposed to Zhuo Fan's eyes in an instant, leaving only a red lace cloth to protect her final vestige of modesty. Lei Yuding's tears dropped without a sound. Zhuo Fan's hand closed in on the red cloth as his voice dropped even lower. This is your last chance to maintain your honor. If you don't answer, there are more than a dozen craving men outside beside me. Bastard! Lei Yuding hissed. I'll count to 3. 1, 2, the higher he got the closer his hand was to the red cloth. Lei Yuding's bit her lips, close to drawing blood while crying, yet no word came out. You're quite brave. Zhuo Fan nodded and was about to pull when Xiao Chui shouted in panic, Don't. I beg you, don't bully young miss. It's senior brother Yang who's in contact with Hell Valley. Who is he? Zhuo Fan's curled up an evil smile. Lei Yuding wanted to shout for Xiao Chui to stop, but Zhuo Fan's robbed her voice. Xiao Chui saw young miss suffering and spoke truthfully, he is Mountain Lord's disciple, Yang Ming. The Mountain Lord formed a marriage contract between senior brother Yang and young miss. But one day, Luo's clan head, Luo Jinnan caught him off guard and wounded him heavily. He lays paralyzed, unable to even speak. So you thought of catching the Luo clan off guard? Zhuo Fan grinned, killers must pay and revenge must be dealt, right? And then? Xiao Chui hesitated but then she saw Zhuo Fan's hand drawing near Lei Yuding's chest. We were at a loss in the face of Luo clan's tight guard, but then senior brother made a pact with Steward Sunday. He worked with us from the inside and defeated the Luo clan. Then Luo clan's young miss ran away and we lost track of her. It was also then when senior brother Yang found out you were all here and asked Hell Valley's help. Good. Zhuo Fan's hand remained still. How did you know Mountain Lord was sneak attacked by Luo Jinnan? Did you see it? Senior brother Yang did. Did your senior brother Yang also tell you returning Dragon Palm can heal him? Zhuo Fan raised an eyebrow as he asked Xiao Chui who nodded. She was amazed he got it right. With a clear picture, Zhuo Fan withdrew his hand from Lei Yuding's chest. However, a light voice came from outside. Zhuo Fan, are you there? Luo Yuncheng went inside with Luo Yunhai and Captain Pang. The image rooted them in place. An extra 2 beauties with messed up clothing were inside, with Zhuo Fan's nefarious hand in front of one's chest. Luo Yunhai was slack-jawed, yet his eyes roamed like lightning. Covering her brother's eyes, Luo Yuncheng shouted at Captain Pang, get young master out. Captain Pang nodded as he carried Luo Yunhai outside, but not before he threw Zhuo Fan a vulgar smile any man would understand. Steward Zhuo. Luo Yuncheng raged, this is Veiled Dragon Pavilion. Why are you making trouble? Shrugging, Zhuo Fan said, everything I do is for Luo clan's sake. For Luo clan. Luo Yuncheng laughed from anger, you bring 2 flossies to mess around with and you say it's for Luo clan? Didn't you say you were getting stronger? didn't you say you'll raise the Luo clan above the 7 houses in 10 years? Is this how you do it? Zhuo Fan was stunned. Luo Yunchang carried herself with dignity and virtue at all times, even when angry. Why did she snap today so bad that she lost all composure? Shaking his head, Zhuo Fan said, if you knew who they were, you wouldn't be saying that. Luo Yunchang was skeptical. They are from Blackwind Mountain and I was interrogating them. Zhuo Fan sneered at the 2 girls with messed up clothing. This method is the most effective against women, even in the case of bandits. What, they're from Blackwind Mountain? Luo Yunchang's eyes went bloodshot as she used her Yuan Qi to punch Lei Yuding. Give me back my father. Zhuo Fan caught her soft hand. Calm down, I believe Blackwind Mountain and the Luo clan's grievances are connected. The 7 noble houses were probably behind it all. What? Not only Luo Yunchang, even Lei Yuding and Xiao Chui were stunned. Both the Luo clan and Blackwind Mountain were mere ants to the 7 noble houses. Why go to such lengths to hide their intention when they could deal with them with a snap of their fingers? Zhuo Fan didn't figure it out yet, but he still let go of Lei Yuding. Young Miss Lei, I have a presumptuous favor to ask of you. Zhuo Fan bowed, I want you to take me to Blackwind Mountain. I want to get to the bottom of this. Humph, there's no way you can enter Blackwind Mountain. Lei Yuding snorted. Zhuo Fan smiled at Luo Yunchang, young miss, please take out the returning dragon palm. Why? Luo Yunchang took it out anyway. If others asked for it, she wouldn't have been so quick to respond. But since Zhuo Fan was a 5th grade array master, he wouldn't covet a mere spirit-ranked martial art. Zhuo Fan smiled, young Miss Lei, this is the returning dragon palm you wanted. But this is a martial art, it is unable to heal Mountain Lord's wound. I can only ask for you to take me to Blackwind Mountain to investigate. The chance is Yang Ming had always lied to you. We need to make matters clear, otherwise, Luo clan and Blackwind Mountain will be crushed by the 7 houses. Senior brother Yang is a good man, not a liar. Xiao Chui said. Zhuo Fan only looked at Lei Yuding. How could Yang Ming make Luo clan's steward defect after decades under Luo clan and also be in constant contact with Hell Valley? Lei Yuding, do you even know your fiancé? Zhuo Fan's words struck a chord inside Lei Yuding and doubt sprouted. Tracing returning dragon palm's jade slip with her hand, she nodded. Since they gave her the martial art, one passed down through generations, even she found something amiss and agreed. Moreover, Blackwind Mountain was her home and Zhuo Fan was but one man. No trick of his would work there. Zhuo Fan was pleased, but he cleared his voice in embarrassment the next second. Miss Lei, be careful not to catch a cold. Ah! Only now did she react to the vile steward ripping her clothes and could only use her hands for cover. Luo Yunchang and Xiao Chui shoved Zhuo Fan out the door. Scram! The door slammed behind him as the 3 girls exchanged a smile. But then it dawned on them how complicated the matter got. They were still enemies and lost their smiles. Then came Zhuo Fan from outside. Miss Lei, next time don't forget to wear more. Lei Yuding was so embarrassed her eyes burned with rage, while her face grew hotter. Chapter 29, Entering Blackwind Mountain. Chapter 29, Entering Blackwind Mountain. Looking for proofreaders for this novel. A woman and an old man walked down a forest road. She was tall, mesmerizing and emanating a perfume that drew in butterflies. The wizened old man had a white goatee, yet his eyes flashed with vigilance now and then. The 2 arrived at the foot of a mountain and looked to the summit. The beauty eyed the elder, but her tone was laced with anger. Zhuo Fan, you better behave. If I find you have any evil intentions towards Blackwind Mountain, I won't let you off. Ha ha ha, relax miss. This old man only came to investigate. Moreover, what could a lone man possibly do? The old man's laughter reached the heavens above. Snorting, Lei Yuding ignored him. Furthermore, if you harm even a hair of Xiao Chui, I will end you. Relax, I took her hostage because we don't trust each other. On one hand, I needed some insurance. On the other, Zhuo Fan spoke in a mysterious voice, it is for your own good. For my own good? Lei Yuding didn't understand, but the only response she got was Zhuo Fan shaking his head. The two climbed in silence. Halfway up, they got to the first checkpoint. Who's there? A strong man jumped out in their path. But when he saw Lei Yuding, he bowed, "Ah, so it's young miss. Weren't you in Windgaze City, why?" "I had to return." Lei Yuding jutted out her chin, walking without sparing the man a glance. "He is on Yang Ming's side." Zhuo Fan whispered, "Tell me, if your task in Windgaze City was so secret, why is it that a common bandit knows of it?" Lei Yuding frowned. Her previous unshakable trust in Yang Ming was gnawed by Zhuo Fan these past few days. She, herself, started to notice many more inconsistencies in Yang Ming's behavior. The same could be said about the man they just met. He was watching her every movement, but what she used to take it as normal before, now it felt like a warning. "You'll see. Once we arrive, Yang Ming will welcome you." Zhuo Fan smiled as he sped up. Lei Yuding watched his figure with a heart filled with doubts. They passed several more checkpoints before reaching the summit. They now stood in front of the Blackwind Mountain Camp's gate. Since Zhuo Fan was impersonating an old man and was led by Lei Yuding, no one questioned him. But just as they stepped foot across the gate, a man appeared. He was tall and majestic, just that a wicked smile smeared his handsome face. Zhuo Fan knew in a flash he was Yang Ming. "See, all your actions were reported back." Zhuo Fan raised an eyebrow at Lei Yuding, like a child who won the bet. But Lei Yuding didn't humor him by playing his game, and instead had a solemn face. Zhuo Fan had been feeding her doubts every step of the way, particularly regarding Yang Ming, who might have been a spy from the Hell Valley. She didn't want to believe it since he was the fiancé her godfather arranged for her. It was hard for her to change her perception of a man who had the trust of everyone, her godfather included. But these doubts were the fruit of Zhuo Fan's careful wording along the way. Biting her lip, Lei Yuding saw Yang Ming with a complicated gaze and braced herself for what was to come. "Sister Yuding, shouldn't you be in Windgaze City? Why the sudden return?" Yang Ming approached her with a smile and turned to Zhuo Fan, "And this is?" Lei Yuding hesitated a moment. "Senior brother, Veiled Dragon Pavilion isn't someone we can provoke, while Hell Valley's men aren't worthy of trust. This operation has too many dangers, so I've put the men on standby to observe for now." Yang Ming's face changed, not much but enough for Zhuo Fan to notice the killing intent in his eyes. "Sister Yuding, Master's kindness is as heavy as a mountain. How can we not give our lives for such a man? How can we be so selfish? Furthermore, aren't we supposed to avenge Master?" "I am aware, however," Lei Yuding frowned, "we cannot disregard the lives of our brothers. This is a second-ranked alchemist I have found to save Godfather. We will settle this vengeance once he recovers." Sensing his cue, Zhuo Fan cupped his hands, "Ha ha ha, this old man has wandered the pugilistic world and cured countless illnesses. No injury or disease can escape my trained eye. Humph, if you were so great, we'd have known about you. Who are you trying to deceive?" Yang Ming interrupted Zhuo Fan bragging, "Junior sister, only returning dragon palm can heal wounds this martial art caused. Don't you trust me?" Lei Yuding recalled the times she spent with Yang Ming and her heart was in chaos. Zhuo Fan stood between the two and asked Yang Ming, "Little brother, give me a chance. I'm an expert healer." "Get lost." Yang Ming was furious and sent a palm attack. Zhuo Fan felt the power behind it but didn't dodge, opting to take the strike with clenched teeth. Bam! Despite not using a martial art, the palm backed up by the power of an early bone-tempering cultivator struck Zhuo Fan's chest and sent him sprawling while coughing blood. "Why did you attack if you refused him entry?" Lei Yuding yelled. Zhuo Fan staggered to his feet after puking another mouthful of blood. "This old man can't take too many hits." Miss, I'm sorry but I will have to refuse this deal. I should have known no good comes from dealing with bandits. What did you say? Yang Ming was enraged and slapped again, but Lei Yuding stopped him. I invited him. If you want to hit him, you'll have to go through me. Humph, let him try for all I care. But if this healer makes the master worse, he won't leave this place alive. Yang Ming flung his sleeve and walked out in anger. Lei Yuding felt wronged and glared at Zhuo Fan. It's all your fault senior brother ignores me. I was a fool for believing you. There's no way my caring senior brother could harm Godfather. Miss, didn't your godfather teach you how to judge people? Zhuo Fan wiped the blood from his mouth with a smile, but this is perfect since he bought it. Lei Yuding was shocked, then doubtful. When you talk to someone, you don't pay attention to what they speak but how they act. Zhuo Fan grinned evilly. The reason he stopped me before was because he didn't know of my level. Thanks to his palm strike, he gauged my strength was negligible and let me pass. You tell me if he's caring or not. Lei Yuding replayed the early scene while leaving out Yang Ming's words. All of his actions went according to Zhuo Fan's conjecture. To the point that when he left, Yang Ming showed a faint smile to her. Can it be? Lei Yuding didn't dare finish. If she did, her heart would be in too much pain and wouldn't be able to stop herself from confronting Yang Ming. At that time, the two would break all relations. Zhuo Fan patted her shoulder. Come, take me to your godfather. Damn swindler. It's fine if you want to act but there's no point in seeing him. Lei Yuding could hardly rein her emotions. Zhuo Fan smiled while shrugging nonplussed. When you act, you need to be thorough. Moreover, the act hasn't reached its climax. With the final word, Zhuo Fan walked forward and Lei Yuding followed. As they passed, hundreds of eyes focused on them. Lei Yuding felt uneasy from so many stares. What used to be eyes filled with respect, now held only wariness. The two entered the Mountain Lord's room and saw Yang Ming inside. He held a bowl of gruel, feeding the old man on the bed. Hack, I will hold you responsible for anything that happens to Master. Yang Ming smacked the bowl on the table and glared, then took a seat to the side to observe. Zhuo Fan laughed inside as he inspected the patient. When his fingers touched the old man's wrist, he injected his yuan qi and what he saw stunned him. It was all clear to him now. He has no external wounds. Zhuo Fan shook his head. Yang Ming rolled his eyes and snorted, is there a need to even say it? But neither, internal ones. Yang Ming's eyes squinted and his hands tightened. He judged the fourth layer qi condensation Zhuo Fan as having no skill to speak of, but reality proved him wrong. Yang Ming's killing intent spiked. If Godfather isn't injured, why can't he move or speak? Lei Yuding doubted Zhuo Fan's diagnosis, thinking he was just putting on a show. When you put up an act, try to make it believable. How are you going to explain an immobilized bone-tempering expert having no injuries? Zhuo Fan scratched his nose as he smiled. This old man has concluded he has something foreign inside. Bam! Yang Ming snapped the corner of the table while the old man on the bed glared at Zhuo Fan. He wanted to speak with such ardor but he was powerless to do so. Yet his emotional gaze said it all. Chapter 30, Mad Slaughter. Chapter 30, Mad Slaughter. Looking for proofreaders for this novel. Nonsense. Yang Ming stormed before Zhuo Fan and pulled him back. Lei Yuding was stunned. Senior brother, what's wrong? Squinting his eyes, Yang Ming turned to Lei Yuding. Junior sister, are you hiding something from me? Lei Yuding froze but shook her head after hesitating. How can I? Yang Ming snickered. Junior sister, after being in contact for so long, you're unable to lie to me. Of course. Lei Yuding felt danger behind Yang Ming's smile. As if a viper had its eyes on her, forcing her to stagger back. Yang Ming flashed with determination. Junior sister, where is Xiao Chui? I had her do some things. Lei Yuding stammered. Yang Ming nodded, pleased. But the next second, his eyes flashed evilly as he sent a palm strike. The powerful strike to her chest sent Lei Yuding flying. A trail of blood hung in the air. Yang Ming then pressed a spot on the bed and a trapdoor opened beneath Lei Yuding. Zhuo Fan faked shock and fled. But Yang Ming's quick hand clutched his neck, throwing him inside the hole, and then closed the trapdoor. The old man trembled from fury seeing the two falling in Yang Ming's trap. Bam! Lei Yuding's body ached as she landed in the black cave. But then, with a loud bang, something crashed onto her with such force that she spat blood. Didn't think this kid would have a trapdoor. Zhuo Fan reached for the ground and felt something soft in his palm. Why is the ground so soft? Ah, bastard! Get off me! A shriek pierced his ears and Zhuo Fan realized he was on top of Lei Yuding with his two hands conveniently placed on her chest. He rushed away and said embarrassed, sorry, it was a total accident. Lei Yuding, with a beet-red face, didn't argue. She stood up and raved, Yang Ming, so you're the one behind it all. Ha ha ha. Yang Ming's egotistical laughter came from above, junior sister, I knew your return was suspicious. And you even brought a second-grade alchemist. You started to doubt me. Why are you doing this? Godfather always treated you well. Lei Yuding wailed in grief as her heart broke. Yang Ming replied with a sneer, I have my own plans, this old man means nothing to me. I didn't hope to deal with you so soon, but you even went as far as bringing a second-grade alchemist to ruin my plan. What, do I mean so little to you? Tears streamed Lei Yuding's cheeks. She spat blood again from heartache. Zhuo Fan shook his head, unmoved by her plight. You only have yourself to blame. But since he had a play to finish, he still kept true to his role as a healer. Little brother, I have nothing to do with your problems. Let me go, I'm innocent. Yang Ming only laughed. Damn hack, if you were useless it wouldn't have made much difference if I killed you or not. Such a shame you figured out the old man's illness. Illness? What illness? I only thought he didn't move for so long that toxins started to set in and wanted to give him a laxative. Zhuo Fan cried his injustice, this is how I earn my meager living, why? Yang Ming rubbed his forehead. Curses, it's all a misunderstanding. He took the old man as having skills when he was nothing but a swindler looking to earn his next meal. In the end, what skill can a fourth-layer qi condensation old man have? Yang Ming shook his head, regretting his rash actions. He wanted Lei Yuding to complete his job, but now he had to do it himself. Damn hack. You ruined everything. Yang Ming roared, once I come back, I'll deal with you both. Guards, make sure no one comes in. Yes. Zhuo Fan then heard two guards taking positions at the door and Yang Ming leaving. Hey, little brother, I'm not the only one who makes a living like this. Hey, let me go, I'm innocent. Zhuo Fan shouted a few more times but didn't get a reply and was certain Yang Ming was gone. He turned to Lei Yuding to find her sitting blankly. She just found out her fiancé was someone else entirely and felt nothing for her, willing to even kill her. Any girl would feel their heart torn to shreds from this. Rubbing his fake beard, Zhuo Fan spoke, you're not too different from my young miss. You should later share each other's pain and learn from them. Humph, later. It's still unclear if we'll survive. Lei Yuding lashed. Zhuo Fan's smile brimmed with confidence, it's all going according to this old man's plan. Relax, we're leaving tonight. But if you want to die, you can take your life now of course. After all, you've been discarded. Lei Yuding snapped, if I die, I'll drag you down with me. Zhuo Fan chuckled as he closed his eyes, waiting for the night. Lei Yuding pouted, yet she found bickering with Zhuo Fan had eased the pain inside and that something faint sprouted. In the dead of night, a crescent moon hung in the clouded sky above Blackwind Mountain. Most bandits were asleep, with the exception of the guards. In the dark cave, Zhuo Fan neared the wall and flashed his eyes open as Lei Yuding was sleeping further behind. He pointed and a red light flashed from Lei Yuding's body and floated before Zhuo Fan. The Blood Infant. Zhuo Fan didn't trust Lei Yuding even with an agreement in place. So he took Xiao Cui hostage and placed the Blood Infant inside her. If she made one wrong move, he'd end her in an instant. It was fortunate Lei Yuding's act was in order, but now it was time for Blood Infant to show its strength. The Blood Infant was acting as if it hadn't seen its parent for days, rubbing Zhuo Fan's cheek. He smiled for a moment before his eyes flashed with mad killing intent. Blood Infant knew his heart desires and flew outside. The thick stone walls didn't hinder it in the least. The mountain forest was particularly quiet at this time and the bandits were enjoying their dreams in their rooms. But a red light flashed inside one of them, only to leave the next second to enter another bandit. The previous content's smile faltered and was soon devoid of life. The Blood Infant's speed was dreadful, cleaning up a room of 20 bandits in one breath. When it left, the room was robbed of life. In the same manner, the Blood Infant traveled all over Blackwind Mountain, taking every breath of life along the way. Its final stop was the 2 guards at Mountain Lord's door. Whoosh! One guard saw his partner being assaulted by a red light. Something went inside you. The other guard froze, not getting what happened, but then Zhuo Fan's voice came from within his body, "Let us out." The guards' hearts were in a panic. Why did the voice of the one trapped beneath them come from one guard's body? Before they could understand what happened, the Blood Infant dried up its host before the other one's eyes, leaving nothing but dust. It then entered the other guard. The guard was scared to death to the point he lost his voice. It was then Zhuo Fan's voice came from inside him, "Let us out." It carried with it an undeniable power that softened the guard's knees as he relieved himself in his pants. "Lord, please wait, I'll do it right now." The guard cried. Anyone who had seen their partner turn to dust would have no shred of courage left. The guard rushed in tears to open the mechanism. Rumble. The trapdoor opened and light shined inside. Lei Yuding was roused by the sudden light and looked to see Zhuo Fan next to her. "If you want to live, come with me." Then he jumped. Lei Yuding was amazed at how he did it, but his words made her angry. "Humph, I won't die so easily." She then jumped after him. Chapter 31, Frigid Pool Snow Worm. Chapter 31, Frigid Pool Snow Worm. Looking for proofreaders for this novel. Returning to Mountain Lord's chamber, the guard begged for his life. "Lord, young miss, spare me." "Young dash, no, Yang Ming, that bastard forced me." Lei Yuding was clueless as Zhuo Fan waved, "Stand aside." The guard curled up in a corner. Then Zhuo Fan walked to the old man's bed. Zhuo Fan smiled at the naked killing intent in the old man's eyes. "I can heal you, but you have to listen to me afterwards." Lei Yuding was moved. "You can heal Godfather." Zhuo Fan only stared at the old man in the eye. The old man hesitated, but Zhuo Fan dispelled it with a smile. "Relax, I won't do anything that might jeopardize your clan. I am Zhuo Fan, Luo clan's steward. We have a common enemy and I am missing a bone-tempering expert that I hope you can fill in for." His words worked to intensify the glare in the old man's eyes. Zhuo Fan grinned, knowing he agreed. With a wave of his finger the Blood Infant left the guard and floated in front of Zhuo Fan. At the sight of the bloody light, the guard shivered. This was the one behind his partner's gruesome death. Lei Yuding was shocked, having also suffered at the hands of this light. "Zhuo Fan, what are you trying to do?" "Heal him." Zhuo Fan flitted his eyes over her. "Can this thing heal?" Lei Yuding was doubtful, having seen Zhuo Fan using it to attack and humiliate her before. What if this thing worsens Godfather's illness? Zhuo Fan sneered. "Young miss, your godfather agreed already. I have no reason to hurt him." "Then what is that thing?" Lei Yuding watched the old man with worry. "Demonic creature." Zhuo Fan explained coldly. "Us, demonic cultivators, refined demonic creatures. Be it for attacking or defending, these creatures are essential. Do you know why Yang Ming snapped when I said the old man had a foreign object inside? Lei Yuding shook her head. Didn't you say it was a blind guess? Zhuo Fan almost spat blood. Now I know why he fooled you. You're a blockhead. Did you also believe me when I was fooling him? I see now why he left so at ease, even while you are alive. Lei Yuding blushed and lowered her head. Godfather always told her she had a talent for cultivation, a genius. But Zhuo Fan was the first to call her blockhead. The reason why he flipped was because my words hit him where it hurts. Zhuo Fan spoke gravely. As for why the old man is immobilized, it's because of a demonic creature. I will now use mine to expel the one inside him. Even so, Lei Yuding was still worried. Your demonic creature can expel his? Ha ha ha. Zhuo Fan laughed as he heard the biggest joke in his life. Based on his early diagnosis, Yang Ming's demonic creature was refined from a parasitic worm, the lowest among demonic creatures. But his was the blood infant, feared by even the 10 emperors of old. How could they ever be equal? Sigh, ignorance is terrifying. Zhuo Fan no longer wasted words on Lei Yuding and waved his finger so that the blood infant entered the old man. A flash of red passed and the old man's skin crawled. As it started to wiggle, a light flashed over that spot. Wherever the light went, the wiggling stopped. After a few dozen breaths, the blood infant returned to Zhuo Fan's body while the old man began to move his finger. His lips parted to let a faint whisper, Tinger. Godfather. Lei Yuding grabbed his hand as tears fell. But Zhuo Fan frowned and muttered, damn it. This old man won't move anytime soon, his blood vessels atrophied. He needs at least half a year to recover. I helped him for nothing. Even with his low voice, Lei Yuding picked up his every word. Lei Yuding glared at him, make no mistake, my godfather owes you and I will do everything to repay it. You won't lose out. He shrugged. He wanted a bone-tempering expert, not a run-of-the-mill cultivator stuck at the cusp of entering bone-tempering stage that he could easily deal with. It was at this time the old man's body trembled and an inch-long snow-white worm crawled out of his mouth. Ah! Lei Yuding shrieked. But when she saw the worm, her anger got the best of her. So you're the cause of my godfather's illness. Lei Yuding poured all her power into the lightning between her 2 fingers and stabbed at the worm. Stop! Zhuo Fan grabbed her hand. Lei Yuding saw his eyes flash with an odd light. What are you doing? We need to kill this parasite. You know nothing. Zhuo Fan looked for a box to put the worm carefully. Before closing the lid, he dropped a few drops of blood essence and smiled with satisfaction as he hid it in his chest. Never did he expect to earn so much on this trip. This creature was called Frigid pool snow worm, one that lived in the coldest waters and was very rare. It was a parasite that would die if the larva didn't find a host in 2 hours after hatching. But the cold pool it lived in hardly had any living beings and most of the worms would die soon after being born. A demonic cultivator would raise it into an inferior demonic creature since most poisonous worms or insects could be turned into parasites. This was why many demonic cultivators considered the Frigid pool snow worm a mere parasite, albeit a rarer one. Yet even in the sacred domain, one would be hard-pressed to find someone who knew of Frigid pool snow worm's fatal flaw. It would only leave its host when it was on the brink of death. Just now, the blood infant used the demon transformation art to kill its larva and make it believe its life was threatened so it would come out willingly. Another way was to kill the old man. By destroying all its larvae, the worm had now become a common parasite. However, a treasure such as this could be refined into an unprecedented demonic creature in Zhuo Fan's hands. He started to let out an evil smile. His grin only made the other 3's hearts shudder, thinking Zhuo Fan was worse than Yang Ming. Carry him, we're returning to Windgaze City. Zhuo Fan then turned to the remaining guard with a kind smile, thank you for opening the door for us. With a strained nod, the guard squeezed a smile. Then a steel grip lifted him by the throat, but now, you're expendable. No. Lei Yuding was late in stopping him. Black energy burrowed into the guard and he soon blew up in a cloud of dust. She froze seeing Zhuo Fan kill a man for the first time. He was so ruthless, he didn't even leave a corpse. Lei Yuding recalled how she spent the last few days next to such a murderer and fear swelled inside her. Even the old man's eyes squinted. He was a seasoned cultivator yet also felt his courage falter from Zhuo Fan's act. Lei Yuding looked at her godfather with a heavy heart, unsure if joining Zhuo Fan was a good choice. But one thing was certain, she should never ever make an enemy out of him. Sighing, she resigned in carrying her godfather behind Zhuo Fan. Bodies were strewn everywhere they looked around the camp. Each man had a peaceful death, but it was this calm expression that struck the greatest fear in the two's hearts. The mountain camp had around 400 men, yet they all died without a sound, including those who weren't corrupted by Yang Ming. The old man had tears streaming down his cheeks when he recalled drinking with his brothers. But far from hating Zhuo Fan, he was more grateful. He was the lord of Blackwind Mountain and knew decisiveness was needed here. Once word got out about his rescue, not only the ones here but also the ones living in Windgaze City would find themselves dead. If Zhuo Fan didn't do it, the old man would have asked him to. He was grateful that Zhuo Fan spared him from giving out the kill order. Steward. Zhuo, thank you. His strained words shocked Lei Yuding, while Zhuo Fan understood. The old man was both in admiration and fearful as he watched the bodies. You did a great deed. Chapter 32, Men from Headquarter. Chapter 32, Men from Headquarter. Looking for proofreaders for this novel. 10 days later, Zhuo Fan returned in secret to the small courtyard in Veiled Dragon Pavilion. This trip took them half a month, but Zhuo Fan made sure to tell Lei Yuding to place the Blackwind Mountain bandits in the city on standby. Since the bandits were still, so was Hell Valley. On the way to his home, Zhuo Fan found that Long Jia and Long Kuei weren't around and set for a guard to put the old man in a room while he went to look for Luo Yunchang. 15 minutes later, Xiao Chui cried when she saw the door open. She ran in tears to Lei Yuding, "Young miss." Lei Yuding wiped the girl's tears and bopped her nose, "Silly girl, they weren't hard on you, were they?" Xiao Chui shook her head, "All Luo clan, besides that evil steward, treated me with kindness." "Ahem, girlie, don't talk bad about people when they're present or they will put you in your place." Zhuo Fan then walked next to the rest of the Luo clan's members who smiled at Xiao Chui's antics. Luo Yunhai approved, "You dumb girl, bro Zhuo likes to spank people the most. You messed with him, now see how he messes up your rear." Xiao Chui hid behind Lei Yuding. Zhuo Fan rolled his eyes. Was he a fiend in these kids' eyes? Luo Yunchang and Captain Pang exchanged a glance but felt warm inside. Zhuo Fan always did what he wanted and never left a good first impression, to the point some might even call him vile. They experienced this firsthand. But once they got to know Zhuo Fan, they would discover that he was a trustworthy person. "You're Yunchang." They all turned to the old man behind Lei Yuding who watched Luo Yunchang with emotion. Then he turned to the child, "And you are?" "Luo Yunhai." "Gods be praised, Brother Jinnan's children are alive." "Senior, are you perhaps?" Luo Yunchang hesitated. The first thing Zhuo Fan did when he returned was to bring her to Blackwind Mountain's lord to understand the relationship between Blackwind Mountain and Luo clan, and why Hell Valley set its sights on them. Zhuo Fan made the introductions. "This is Blackwind Mountain's lord, the leader of the bandits who destroyed Cloud Manor." "What?" Luo Yunchang's face turned gloomy and dignified as killing intent surged and her yuan qi leaked. Lei Yuding jumped in front of the old man. His frail hand moved Lei Yuding aside and dropped to his knees, tears flowing freely. "Yunchang, Luo clan's disaster is all my fault. If you want to kill anyone, kill me." "Godfather." "Mountain Lord." Lei Yuding and Xiao Chui shouted but the old man dismissed them. I owe it to the Luo clan. You are not to stop her. Luo Yuncheng watched the weak old man with anger, yet she didn't strike. Zhuo Fan patted her shoulder. Yang Ming had him fooled for so long, immobilized him in his bed, and he had only recently recovered somewhat. The attack on the Luo clan had nothing to do with him. Why didn't you say so earlier? Luo Yuncheng grumbled, blaming him for almost having killed an innocent. Zhuo Fan rubbed his chin, although, this old man is so blind that taking him in might sink the Luo clan. Killing him for revenge is only natural. She rolled her eyes at Zhuo Fan's dubious logic. Despite making some sense, blaming the old man was going too far. Luo Yuncheng wasn't a person who took her anger on others. Even more so when the old man seemed to have known her father well. Senior, you're also a victim. No, I and Jinnan are sworn brothers, but the Luo clan fell because of me. It is because of me his soul can't rest. He wiped the tears from his pain-stricken face. Luo Yuncheng was shocked and then saw Luo Yunhai shaking his head. Senior, why is it that father never mentioned you? Releasing the breath that he was holding, the old man calmed his restless heart. Luo clan is a distinguished clan, leagues above an old bandit such as I. But your father and I became sworn brothers right as we met and kept it hidden, afraid of affecting the Luo clan's reputation. Furthermore, my Lei clan has an ancient rule, never to make enemies of Kai and Luo clans. Luo Yunhai cried out then muttered, Dad once told me that regardless of the situation, to always survive or perish alongside Lei and Kai clans. I know of the Kai clan, but is the Lei clan he was referring to, yours? Zhuo Fan stopped before Long Jiao who was smiling at him, but that smile was soon replaced by a grim look. But I must remind you, if you came here with nonsense, there will be consequences. Scratching his nose, Zhuo Fan smiled. Hell Valley's experts are here and will soon attack this place. I wonder if this is considered nonsense. Of course not, if it's true. Before Long Jiao responded, an aged voice came from one high chair, followed by the slow turning of both the chairs. Two ferocious auras, stronger than Long Jiao, swept Zhuo Fan. His breath caught in his throat and staggered backwards as a drop of cold sweat trailed down his shocked face. Chapter 33, Movements from All Sides. Chapter 33, Movements from All Sides. Looking for proofreaders for this novel. The two chairs creaked as they turned slowly, revealing two old men. One had sandy hair, with big eyes and thin hands that each time his finger tapped the armrest, it echoed out. His eyes flashed golden like a piercing sword, enough to cut one's heart. The second elder had red hair and took long breaths. Each exhale warped the air as if he breathed fire. One look was enough for Zhuo Fan to know they were stronger than Long Jiao. One of them even trained the golden body to completion while the other cultivated a fire cultivation method to great success. In the short time Zhuo Fan was exposed to their power, he knew the old men weren't far from the radiant stage. In the mortal domain, any who reached this stage was among the few strongest on the continent. So this is the power of the Veiled Dragon Pavilion. Zhuo Fan sighed inside. The blonde elder glanced at Zhuo Fan. Are you that Zhuo Fan old Jiao couldn't stop praising? Yes. I heard you're a 5th grade array master. Zhuo Fan nodded. Before grasping the two's character, he refrained from acting casually. Junior has a trivial understanding of 5th grade arrays, but nothing seniors could consider as worth. Ha ha ha, a 5th grade array master is a venerable in the Veiled Dragon Pavilion. And we too are just elders. Even we have to show you respect. The blonde elder let out a friendly laugh, unfitting of his stiff expression. The red-haired elder's rough voice boomed, Hey kid, old Jiao said you're quite arrogant, that you can raise an unknown clan above the 7 houses in 10 years. Listening to you shout Bro Jiao sure is arrogant enough. How come you're so shy when facing us too? Zhuo Fan smiled. I have met with Bro Jiao many times and got to know his limits. But this is my first time meeting the two of you. The elders were surprised. Long Zhuo's face twitched and snapped. Kid, you say you saw through me, is that it? And here I thought you were bossy to anyone you met when in fact you acted like this only around me. You think this old man is all washed up? He, of course not. I consider Bro Zhuo my friend, and with how a broad-minded senior you are, you would never lower yourself to my level. If I were to act the same with a one-track-minded person, I'd be dead. Zhuo Fan shook his head and continued, that is no longer arrogance, but idiocy. The three smiled inside. The blonde and the red-haired elders even showed approval. Just as old Zhuo said, this kid can see through others while also handling each of them with flawless flattery. His words might irritate old Zhuo, but as a senior, he won't bicker with a junior. I like this kid, ha ha ha, the red-haired elder laughed, while the blonde elder nodded. If I didn't know you have no intention to join Veiled Dragon Pavilion, I would have insisted on having you join us, ha ha ha. Zhuo Fan might be cupping his hands with a smile, but a sneer laid in his heart. In the off chance this glorious and fallen demonic emperor couldn't rise again, he would still not join a party that didn't even have a radiant stage cultivator. Quite the opposite, in fact. If you old fogies are stuck in cultivation, this old man will give you pointers. Oh, you were saying just now that Hell Valley's men are here. Are you certain? The blonde old man's face turned solemn as they went down to important matters. Long Zhuo turned his eye over to him, eager to know. Zhuo Fan nodded. Half a month ago, I discovered the Sun Clan had two more incredibly strong auras besides Elder Jian. As I was out with work these past days, I hadn't kept an eye on Sun Clan and am unclear if more had come. Humph, the more the better. I will kill them regardless. Long Zhuo slapped the table as his eye turned bloodthirsty. Old Zhuo, don't let anger cloud your judgment. The blonde old man frowned and said to Zhuo Fan, little brother, how do you know? A cat has its way, and so does a mouse. The less you know, the better. Zhuo Fan shook his head. The blonde old man was doubtful, while Long Zhuo was convinced. Third brother, Brother Zhuo's news is reliable. When that bastard Jian Fan came to Windgaze City, our spy network didn't pick it up and we only knew it thanks to Brother Zhuo's warning. I can attest to that, as I checked its validity myself. The blonde elder frowned and said surprised, little brother, you're quite amazing. I wonder who your master is. Overlord Nine Serenities. Zhuo Fan blurted. They were stunned. This name was domineering to the extreme, but when did this continent have such a persona? Zhuo Fan smiled to himself. In the sacred domain, it would hint to the Nine Serenities Emperor's location, but in the mortal domain, no one was the wiser. After all, the folk here were too far away, enough to keep such ancient rumors from reaching their ears. Your master must be a hidden expert to train Brother Zhuo to 5th grade array master. The blonde elder didn't press for more. Brother Zhuo, do you have a recovery pill? Zhuo Fan popped a question. Long Zhuo nodded as he took out a bottle. Is someone from Luo clan hurt? A recovery pill was a 3rd grade pill, not too expensive and neither too common, valued 100,000 spirit stones at the minimum. But since Zhuo Fan wanted it, Long Zhuo was bound to acquiesce. What could this pill be worth when the two were close as brothers and there was even a 10 million debt binding them? Zhuo Fan took the pill then cupped his hands. Thank you, Bro Zhuo and elders. I will be going now. Damn punk, this was your aim all along. Long Zhuo cursed, you disturbed us for some meager pill, so now you must suffer my punishment. Zhuo Fan laughed as he dismissed him. I'll tell you something else then. Hell Valley will attack in 2 days. Better bump up security. Then he walked out laughing. Long Jia and Long Kuei saw the immensely pleased Zhuo Fan come out and knew he had a delightful conversation, which only worked to sour the two's hearts. The fact that a kid like him had more right than them to join a meeting of elders left them annoyed, Long Kuei in particular. The blonde elder stroked his beard, keeping Zhuo Fan's figure in his eyes. brothers, this kid puts on a smart appearance, while each word he spoke was carefully considered. So young yet so skilled. I can't help but wonder whose disciple he is. Veiled Dragon Pavilion will have to get in touch with his master. The two nodded. On the other hand, Zhuo Fan went straight home. Along the way, he even spotted quite a few suspicious individuals prowling around. A great fight was about to erupt. He soon returned to Luo Yunchang. Thanks to the old man's briefings, Luo Yunchang was now privy to the ups and downs of past events and was beginning to sympathize and relate with them. Since both of them have suffered at the hands of a common enemy, their alliance became more solid. Zhuo Fan relaxed seeing this and threw a bottle at the mountain lord. Take this. I hope you'll be up to your peak in no time. What's this? Lei Yuding asked. Recovery pill. What? Lei Yuding was stunned. She knew of its value. Even if Blackwind Mountain robbed for a whole year, they'd still be unable to gather the spirit stones to pay for it. Yet he threw such a precious pill just like that. Was Luo clan that rich? Seeing through her, Luo Yunchang patted Lei Yuding's hand. Sister Yuding, be at ease. Veiled Dragon Pavilion owes us 10 million. A third-grade pill is nothing. Lei Yuding's shock left her slack-jawed. No wonder Veiled Dragon Pavilion was protecting them free of charge. Wait, was Cloud Manor that wealthy? But Zhuo Fan rolled his eyes at Luo Yunchang's radiant smile. Women are all the same. They all love to compare. Meanwhile, in a dark room of the Sun Clan sat 4 people. 3 of them had their faces hidden, though unable to hide the vile energy they gave off, while the 4th was Hell Valley's 8th elder, Condor Jian Fan. The handsome youth standing before them with a creepy smile was Yang Ming. Also known as Yu Ming in Hell Valley. Yu Ming, Elder Jian began, you hid for more than a decade in Blackwind Mountain. You've done well. But this isn't a job for a girl. There was an incident, but it was taken care of. Yu Ming smiled. Whoosh! A black light trailed his face, drawing blood. Yu Ming was appalled Elder Jian would strike him. Staring at him, Elder Jian said unfeelingly, this secret plan had been going for a decade. If your overconfidence ruins the house's plan, I will make you beg for death. Yes. Yu Ming bowed as cold sweat formed. Leave. Chapter 34, Battle Approaches. Chapter 34, Battle Approaches. Looking for proofreaders for this novel. Zhuo Fan was sitting cross-legged on his bed when he opened his eyes. He was but a step away from entering the 5th layer of qi condensation. But his lack of yuan qi blocked his advance. If he had known, he would have spent more time on Blackwind Mountain to absorb more people's yuan qi. But since he was pressed for time, he only let Blood Infant do the killing, wasting good materials in the process. With the battle knocking at his door, he refrained from letting Blood Infant roam. It would be a huge loss for it to die if Elder Jian bumped into Blood Infant. Zhuo Fan muttered, I can only hold it in. It will not be long before they attack. Yet, his last word was followed by a terrifying power looming ever closer towards his direction. He ran out of the house and jumped onto the roof to see a man was already there, floating in the sky, Long Zhuo. He too felt the power approaching closer and closer, as his single eye squinted with the release of killing intent. Despite this place being 100 meters from Veiled Dragon Pavilion, Zhuo Fan shivered from the intense desire to kill. I knew it. They're profound heaven experts. Even if Zhuo Fan couldn't pinpoint Long Zhuo's power, figuring out his stage was easy. Hovering in the sky was all the proof he needed. As for the other 2 elders, they were even stronger. Thinking of them, he swept the area, but Zhuo Fan saw no shadow of them. They had to be laying an ambush to trap Jian Fan. Zhuo Fan sported a wicked grin. The 3 elders' plan showed Veiled Dragon Pavilion's decision to fight Hell Valley to the death, regardless of consequences. This left no room for amicable conciliation, while also securing the Luo clan's safety. Zhuo Fan, what happened? Luo Yunchang with Lei Yuding and the rest came outside. Zhuo Fan guessed Mountain Lord hadn't finished digesting the pill since he didn't come. Zhuo Fan sorely lacked a peak expert. He yelled, "What are you doing? Get back inside." Their little power was nothing to a profound heaven expert, unlike Zhuo Fan who relied on the 9 heavens coiling dragon array. Luo Yunchang knew the gravity of the situation from Zhuo Fan's tense face. She took her brother and the others to hide in the house while also saying, "Zhuo Fan, be careful." Zhuo Fan nodded. A sudden cawing echoed in their ears and a black cloud floated above Veiled Dragon Pavilion. With a laugh, a black-robed old man walked out of the cloud. The few strands of hair on his head drifted in the wind as his evil eyes narrowed on Long Zhuo. But even so, he couldn't help spare the small courtyard a glance. "Condor Jian Fan, how dare you step into my domain?" Long Zhuo's one and only eye was bloodshot. His bone-deep hatred seeped into every word he uttered. Snickering, Condor Jian Fan laughed, "Long Zhuo, Veiled Dragon Pavilion killed Hell Valley's disciple, Yu Quan. You're saying I can't even come to seek justice? Justice? Since when did Hell Valley know the meaning of the word?" Long Zhuo's breathing grew ragged from the grudge he carried. "Who then plotted against me in Drifting Leaves City? Who then set a trap for me and ruined my Purple Lightning Gold Eye?" Purple Lightning Gold Eye. Zhuo Fan didn't expect the people in the mortal domain to cultivate such a remarkable ability. The legend of the Purple Lightning Gold Eye went back to the time of the 10 emperors, pertaining to one of the top 3 emperors, Heavenly Emperor's mystic eye. It released a golden light, divine lightning that could crush heaven. Even a saint stage expert would fall from his gaze. Yet, this amazing cultivation method appeared in the mortal domain. He was curious as to how in heaven's Long Zhuo managed to cultivate it. If it was cultivated to the 6th heaven, it was a pity to have it ruined. Even he, the demonic emperor, would feel the same hatred as if having his wife stolen or his father killed. Ha ha ha. Jian Fan wasn't the least bit ashamed and laughed instead. "Who is to blame for your idiocy? Relying on your eye, you became a top expert in the Veiled Dragon Pavilion. Without this crutch, you've degenerated to become one of the 9 elders, stuck to defend Windgaze City. Oh, the horror. Jian Fan." Long Zhuo's energy blew with his rage and even his eye was on the verge of bleeding. "I will have my revenge." Long Zhuo charged as a golden dragon coiled around his hand. Mid-spirit ranked martial art, Soaring Dragon Claw. Roar. The dragon roared and left Long Zhuo's arm, baring its fangs at the enemy. Jian Fan sneered and simply waved his hand. A black mist formed chains as it left his sleeve, binding the golden dragon. With a twist of his hand, the golden dragon wailed and shattered to pieces. Mid-spirit ranked martial art, Hell Chains. Jian Fan mocked, "Long Zhuo, you were a dragon with your eye before, but you are now a mere bug. The name of God Eye Long Zhuo will never rise again." Before he could finish, a palm appeared before him and a claw grabbed his wrist. Veiled Dragon Claw. Jian Fan was unable to escape the vice, but he wasn't too worried as he laughed, "Humph, think you can face me with mortal-ranked martial arts when even spirit-ranked martial arts are useless? He, I don't need to take your life, just." Grinning, Long Zhuo threw Jian Fan to the ground. The blonde and the red-haired elders jumped from nearby to attack him. Not good. Jian Fan started panicking. Only now did he realize Long Zhuo's ploy. Long Zhuo wanted to trap him with 2 others, cutting off his escape. Long Zhuo is set on killing me, but... Jian Fan grinned. Now. The black cloud revealed 2 men in black as they converged on Long Zhuo. This left Long Zhuo and the elders in shock. But thanks to Zhuo Fan's intelligence, they had a contingency in place. "Old Zhuo, hold fast." The blonde elder moved swiftly towards Jian Fan with the red-haired elder behind him, ignoring Long Zhuo's fate. Long Zhuo grinned as a golden light shined on his palm and a dragon-shaped sword appeared. As long as you kill Jian Fan, I can die in peace. Third grade spiritual weapon, Dragon Sword. The two men in black stopped in their attacks and dodged the incoming sword attack. Whoosh! A golden light passed just an inch from them as a thunderclap followed behind it. The light split the sky in half and only after 10 breaths did it recover. The two men in black felt dread while retreating 10 steps. They didn't expect Long Zhuo to use a treasure to deal with them. Good! The blonde elder shouted in glee. Long Zhuo's attack scared the two men. He wrapped himself in golden light and charged at Jian Fan. Attacked from two sides, Jian Fan was like meat on a chopping board. Old Zhuo, take a look, see how third brother ends him. The blonde elder laughed as he attacked. Despite not using a martial art, ear-piercing sounds were heard as his hand moved. Jian Fan began to sweat as his eyes squinted, feeling death breathing down his neck. Boom! But then a purple light exploded. It not only blocked the attack but even forced the blonde elder to cough blood. The red-haired elder rushed to check on him while the blonde elder ignored his wounds and stared at the rolling smoke. As for Long Zhuo, he was shocked. When the smoke scattered, it revealed a panting Jian Fan. But this time, he was no longer afraid and even grew rampant, having escaped death. That was close. Didn't think Veiled Dragon Pavilion would send 5th and 3rd elders after me. Devastating Gold Dragon and World-Burning Fire Dragon, your reputation precedes you. The two elders were staring, not at Jian Fan, but at the thing on his shoulder. Soul-devouring crow. Zhuo Fan frowned. He didn't expect for Elder Jian to have such a demonic creature. The soul-devouring crow's body wasn't formidable, but it can devour anything and transfer what it swallowed to its owner. Soul-devouring crow's power depended on its owner. But one thing was certain, soul-devouring crow was among the strong demonic creatures. Zhuo Fan's eyebrows shook as he looked into the crow's eyes. One was black, while the other was golden and released a purple light. Even faint thunder sounds came out. Third heaven, purple lightning gold eye. Chapter 35, Purple Lightning Gold Eye. Chapter 35, Purple Lightning Gold Eye. Looking for proofreaders for this novel. That's my eye. With just a look, Long Zhuo saw through the secret of Crow's eye. He used to move unhindered thanks to that same eye and even earned the name God Eye Long Zhuo. But the God Eye was now his enemy's weapon to be used against him. Impossible. Long Zhuo shook his head in denial. Jian Fan's laughter was unrestrained. Long Zhuo, did you ever think that your precious purple lightning gold eye will one day be put to use on my demonic creature? If you want to kill me, you'll have to first overcome this eye. Then he began making hand signs. The crow flew and purple light glinted in its golden eye, rumbling as it charged at Long Zhuo. Watch out! The blonde elder woke Long Zhuo out of his stupor in time to defend with his dragon sword. Boom! Long Zhuo was struck down by one purple lightning after another and was blown away coughing blood. The two elders rushed to Jian Fan in panic. They knew that as long as Jian Fan stopped his hands, the crow would stop moving. But how could Jian Fan not see such an obvious flaw? Sneering, he gestured again and caused 2 explosions. The purple lightning struck the two elders. They bore the brunt as it sent them flying and blood leaked from their mouths. Zhuo Fan was shocked by how vicious the purple lightning gold eye was. It was only in 3rd heaven and it could already outclass a profound heaven expert. As matters stood, Veiled Dragon Pavilion would lose, and the Luo clan would be next. No, I cannot let that happen. Squinting, Zhuo Fan gnashed his teeth and pointed, sending a red light at Jian Fan. He was taking a huge gamble. If Blood Infant was found out, it would die in a blink from the purple lighting, and him along with it. But if he stood at the sidelines, the Luo clan would be sure to fall for good. Zhuo Fan hardened his heart and sent the Blood Infant on the offensive. Jian Fan was focused on Veiled Dragon Pavilion's 3 elders and was oblivious to the incoming danger. Ha ha ha, Purple Lightning Gold Eye is awesome. Not even together are you 3 fools its match. The crow flew back to Jian Fan's shoulder as he cackled. The 2 men in black flew to either side of Jian Fan and grinned. The 3 Veiled Dragon Pavilion elders' faces darkened. The enemy looked down on them despite acting together. This was the first time this ever happened. If they lost here today, Veiled Dragon Pavilion's reputation would be thrown into the mud, all thanks to them. Don't think you can win with a damn demonic creature and a stolen eye, Condor. The blonde elder's eyes flashed golden and exploded with killing intent. Old Zhuo, Old Wu, stay here. I will take their heads. While shocked, the red-haired elder saw the determination in his eyes and nodded, as did Long Zhuo. As they were all elders of Veiled Dragon Pavilion, they knew the blonde old man's true power. Once the devastating gold dragon was enraged, he would split the earth and shatter the heavens. During the time when Long Zhuo had his eye, there were 3 people in Veiled Dragon Pavilion he couldn't beat. First and second elder were the first 2, while the last was the enraged 3rd elder. Whoosh! A dazzling golden light shined and started covering him with a thick film, like a golden armor. Each time his finger moved, it let out a metallic sound. Jian Fan's face turned grave, picking up on the threat to his life the old man's change promised. Allow me to educate you that the name of devastating gold dragon isn't an empty title. The blonde elder formed claws with his hands, all the while radiating in gold and staring at Jian Fan with a cold gaze. Then he rushed at Jian Fan. In his charge, the elder brought his hands together, just like scissors. Roar! A dragon roar echoed in the pitch-black night. Jian Fan saw the blonde elder appeared surrounded by the image of a huge dragon. It unclenched its jaws and followed the blonde elder's claws to swallow the 3 enemies whole. High spirit ranked martial art, devouring dragon claw. Startled, Jian Fan hastened his hand gestures to control the crow's purple lightning gold eye. Boom! And a purple light flashed. But this time, when the lightning fell on the dragon, it bounced off like a bullet, not even able to slow it down. Jian Fan panicked, unable to believe that the blonde elder would be so strong that he could deflect purple lightning gold eye's attack. But he did notice how the dragon's golden aura dimmed. Hell chains. Jian Fan and his 2 men moved together. Tens of black chains flew from their arms and fell on the dragon like a dark cloud. The chains tightened and the dragon body was rendered motionless under their vice, yet the dragon still lingered, wanting to press on the attack. You're not Veiled Dragon Pavilion's 3rd elder for nothing, needing all 3 of us to hold you back. Jian Fan gave his all in grasping the black chains along with his men. They even began to sweat. The 3rd elder gnashed his teeth, his lips curling in disdain. You think the 3 of you could have held me if not for the purple lightning gold eye? He, you're right. We still have the purple lightning gold eye. Jian Fan snickered. Now that 3rd elder reminded him, he used the hand that held the black chains to make hand signs. With a cawing sound, purple lightning flashed. The 3rd elder's scalp went numb. Both sides were in a deadlock. If the purple lighting hit, it would spell heavy wounds, if not death. 3rd brother. Long Zhuo and the red-haired elder were nervous, rushing to help despite not making it in time. Seeing 3rd elder's fate sealed under the purple lightning, Jian Fan grinned. It was at this moment when Zhuo Fan, who was just 100 feet away, showed a mystifying smile. Using this chaos, I'll take your life. I can't have the Veiled Dragon Pavilion lose such an important battle. Zhuo Fan's killing intent spiked as his hand moved. The blood infant lying in wait just around the corner sprung up from its hiding place, aiming for Jian Fan. With Jian Fan and his 2 men focused on 3rd elder, they were oblivious to the impending danger. Die, 3rd elder. Jian Fan cackled as the crow's eye spilled purple lightning. But then a sudden flash of red entered his body and felt his breath hampered, dispelling the black chains from his hand. Elder Jian, what are you doing? His two men jumped in fright. Jian Fan found something burrowing in his body and wanted to expel it, but it was too late. Third Elder pressed his advantage and exploded with power. Roar! The dragon burst out of the chains and bit down. The two men's eyes squinted as they fled. But the pitiful Elder Jian was rooted in place thanks to Blood Infant's control. The next instant, an arm flew way up high. Third Elder grabbed it and stood with pride as he laughed at the one-armed Jian Fan and his men. Curse you! Veiled Dragon Pavilion went as far as refining demonic creatures to make a sneak attack. Jian Fan clenched his teeth as his heart bled with grief. Thinking how a veteran demonic cultivator as himself was hampered by a demonic creature left a bad taste in his mouth. Would he get any respect from others now? What was even worse was that this was done by righteous cultivators. Let's go. Jian Fan knew he lost the advantage and there was nothing to gain from fighting a losing battle. Yet Long Zhuo wasn't one to let them go. After them. Third Elder's feelings were mutual and shouted while pursuing them. The Blood Infant returned inside Zhuo Fan without anyone's knowledge. He smiled. It's best for Hell Valley to put this blame on Veiled Dragon Pavilion. Their hatred isn't light anyway and a bit more won't affect them. Zhuo Fan justified his actions. Just that he couldn't help the purple lightning gold eye to catch his attention. One way or another, I'll have to get it. Zhuo Fan rubbed his chin as his eyes roamed around. Few things caught the demonic emperor's eye, and the celestial emperor's purple lightning gold eye happened to be one of them. Kill! But then, a group of men in black charged into Veiled Dragon Pavilion. They were all bone-tempering experts. However, Veiled Dragon Pavilion had a contingency in place and Long Jia led his own team to repel the enemies. Mere moments after the two sides clashed, Long Kuei came out to meet them with her own team from the small courtyard. During the Profound Heaven Experts battle, they remained hidden, waiting for the right moment to strike. They waited for all of Hell Valley's men to charge in so they could kill them all in one go. Hell Valley acted as if they didn't expect an ambush and retreated with Long Jia and Long Kuei hot on their tails. No sooner did they retreat after the initial attack, leaving the Luo clan and the ones in the small courtyard. Aren't they baiting? Zhuo Fan was calm, having known Hell Valley's plan. He was waiting for the true mastermind to come out. Soon after, Yang Ming appeared leading Blackwind mountain bandits. Zhuo Fan smirked. Hell Valley had paid a heavy price to have the Lei clan wipe out the Luo clan. I wonder how far are they willing to go? Chapter 36, Lone Sentry. Chapter 36, Lone Sentry. Looking for proofreaders for this novel. Bam! The little courtyard's door was kicked open and Yang Ming and his bandit gang stormed the premises. Get the returning dragon palm. And kill the Luo clan. Yang Ming extended his hand. Whoosh! A breeze passed, followed by Zhuo Fan landing from the roof and barring their path. People, the way is closed off. Please go back, for your own sake. The bandits stopped in shock. Yang Ming stepped from among them and snickered, Are you from the Luo clan? Zhuo Fan nodded, I am Luo clan's steward, Zhuo Fan. Zhuo Fan. Yang Ming exposed a savage grin, Here I was wondering where to look for you and yet you were kind enough to jump right in my path. Whoever brings me his head will get a reward. Yang Ming shouted to the bandits around him. Oh! Under Yang Ming's enticing offer, the bandits shot for Zhuo Fan like cannonballs. Zhuo Fan sneered inside, what could second-layer qi condensation cultivators possibly do? In but a breath, Zhuo Fan's hand moved like a shadow, touching the head of the first victim that dared to step close and sending out black energy through the use of demon transformation art. Under the shocked gaze of the rest, the victim turned to dust and was swept away by the wind. Even Yang Ming was scared, never seeing such a ruthless killing method despite his stay in the Hell Valley, which was filled with its fair share of demonic cultivating monsters. If he was scared, the bandits were horrified. Despite Zhuo Fan having killed a weakling, how he did it drew a far greater reaction out of them. That's the best demonic method. Yang Ming's eyes flickered on and off. Gone was his disdain for Zhuo Fan, now replaced by endless caution. Who the hell are you? There's no way the Luo clan could have someone like you. With a sinister smile, Zhuo Fan pretended to caress an imaginary beard while speaking in an aged voice. Little brother, did you forget? This old man is but a swindler. It's you. Yang Ming realized he was the old guy accompanying Lei Yuding before. Since he was here, that meant. Killing intent flashed as Yang Ming spoke. Where are they? Zhuo Fan shook his head. Are you dumb or what? Since I'm here, of course they're here with me. Yang Ming's heart tightened. If the old man and Lei Yuding came out, his control over the Blackwind mountain bandits would crumble. I should have killed you too from the start. Yang Ming's yuan qi exploded. His bone-tempering power caused the bandits to flinch back 3 steps. Zhuo Fan only shook his head. You wouldn't have attacked, not until you saw Xiao Cui. For you to have hidden for so long in the Blackwind mountain shows your careful nature, unable to accept the smallest mistake. Until you knew for certain Xiao Cui's location, you'd never kill her master. Yang Ming's heart was in upheaval. Never for the likes of him could he imagine a stranger had such a piercing analysis of him, that could see through his every move. He was far more cunning than even the old men in the Hell Valley. He had to die. As Zhuo Fan's words landed, the bandits began to doubt. Yang Ming couldn't drag this any longer, for fear of exposing himself for good and ruining the house's plan. He chose to attack Zhuo Fan. Zhuo Fan's demonic method left him in shock, but as Zhuo Fan was but a 4th-layer qi condensation cultivator, he could kill him in one blow. Zhuo Fan was taken aback by Yang Ming's sudden attack and retreated. Have you no dignity? How can a bone-tempering cultivator use all his power against a qi condensation cultivator? Yang Ming cackled. You think I'm as dumb as you Quan to be caught off guard by you? His finger extended and lightning blossomed, the same move used by the Lei clan, lightning finger. For early bone-tempering Yang Ming to use a spirit-ranked martial art on Zhuo Fan showed the desperation he had in wishing to kill him. And yet, despite his opponent's fierce momentum, Zhuo Fan stopped and spread his arms as he welcomed Yang Ming with a mystifying smile. Yang Ming was unnerved, but not enough to curb his attack. Zhuo Fan then curled a finger and a yellow light encased him. Yang Ming collided with the light and bounced off while coughing blood. What is that? Yang Ming was dumbstruck in the face of such a light. He only felt as if Zhuo Fan's finger held the power to send him flying. How did he do it? Wasn't he just a qi condensation punk? Didn't Yu Quan give him a heavy wound? How is he so strong? Zhuo Fan chuckled at Yang Ming's puzzlement as his hand moved. You're a bit stronger than Yu Quan, but still trash. The only fate of trash is death. Zhuo Fan's eyes flashed with killing intent. A golden dragon burst out of the ground and swooped down on Yang Ming. Its majestic power brought everyone else to their knees. Yang Ming felt fear and wanted to curse. Blast it, the house lied to me. Didn't they say this punk can only sneak attack? How does he have this much power? If that dragon attacks, not even my bones will remain. Only a profound heaven expert has such power. The Blackwind mountain bandits were terrified. Didn't Hell Valley bait all the experts? Why was one still here? No one from the 7 houses is trustworthy. Stop! Just when the golden dragon was poised to strike, a shout came. The bandits knew it belonged to their young miss and hope rose within them. Zhuo Fan snorted. Yet the next moment tens of black chains descended from the black cloud above. They not only tied the dragon up but also crushed it. Zhuo Fan looked with contracted pupils. The black cloud was the same one the 3 elders from the Hell Valley relied on before. There was another one. Frowning, Zhuo Fan knew the black cloud hid another elder. He. A man descended from the black clouds and landed in front of Yang Ming. Lei Yuding also arrived next to Zhuo Fan and glared, "Didn't I tell you to stop? Anyone who stands in my way is my enemy. Why should I listen to you?" Zhuo Fan didn't look at her, only staring at the newcomer. Lei Yuding snorted. "Sigh, that old Jian Fan told me to watch over the Blackwind mountain bandits. I thought it was a waste of time and did not take it seriously." The man waved. "Yu Ming, leave." "No, Elder Yun. I want to get Zhuo Fan's head myself, for junior brother Yu Quan's revenge." Yu Ming glared at Zhuo Fan. Bam! The man gave him an unexpected slap, sending him flying. "You think you can?" The man sneered, "You can't even match his skill, so go back to Hell Valley. This doesn't concern you anymore." Elder Yun. Yu Ming was distracted seeing the unfeeling gaze in the man's eyes. He never saw Elder Yun like this. Yu Ming was among the best in Hell Valley and no elder ever looked at him with such cold eyes. "Wi." The man snorted, "Despite your scheming heart, I used to see you as a man of talent, worthy of raising. But now that I met this youngster, I realized you are nothing more than an insect." The man then turned to Zhuo Fan with a smile, "Child, you have one chance, join Hell Valley and all our differences shall be made void." Or. Whoosh! He swiped and a black chain tightened tens of Blackwind mountain bandits. He pulled a bit and all that was left were pieces of flesh. Or follow in their footsteps. Shock spread to those still alive to see this and Lei Yuding glared in rage at him. Rubbing his chin, Zhuo Fan smiled, wasn't Hell Valley using Blackwind Mountain to save its reputation? Why kill them? With how smart you are, I'm sure you can figure it out. The man snickered, since our plan is out in the open, I would rather avoid raising doubts in them by killing all now. Them? Who's that? Zhuo Fan frowned. The man shook his head, you will know once you join us. Zhuo Fan only laughed, to me, Hell Valley is the same as he is to you, a mere insect. He pointed at Yu Ming with a taunt. The man's ire grew, kid, don't you fear death? Zhuo Fan snickered, can you deliver it? The man jumped and hacked his palm in rage at Zhuo Fan, die. Zhuo Fan made a gesture and a yellow light blocked the attack. Yu Ming saw them clash with jealousy and hatred. He was considered outstanding and was sent on an important mission to Blackwind Mountain. But Zhuo Fan's sudden appearance ruined everything. It even caused the elder to abandon him. Zhuo Fan, you'll see. Yu Ming wiped the blood from his mouth and fled. Lei Yuding chased at once and the two were gone moments later. Zhuo Fan, on the other hand, faced the man with the help of the array. Seeing her go, he sighed, foolish girl. And he sent Blood Infant to follow them in secret. Chapter 37, Fighting a Profound Heaven Cultivator. Chapter 37, Fighting a Profound Heaven Cultivator. Looking for proofreaders for this novel. The man struck 3 times and Zhuo Fan countered with a hand sign, which erected yellow light. After 20-odd hits, the man floated in the air and sneered, you're really something to be able to control the 3rd-grade coiling dragon array at such a young age. It's most unfortunate you met me. He then rushed towards Zhuo Fan again as the latter formed a golden dome of light to stop him. Having foreseen this, the man gathered 20% more power in his palm before striking. The dome crumbled under the devastating blow and he continued to speed towards Zhuo Fan. Humph, the power of profound heaven isn't something a chi condensation kid can even begin to imagine. Zhuo Fan smiled and muttered, a 5th-grade array isn't something a novice can comprehend either. With a snort, Zhuo Fan's hand signs took a sudden change. First heaven. Roar. A golden dragon erupted from the ground and moved to attack Elder Yun. With disdain plainly seen on his face, Elder Yun waved tens of black chains around the dragon and crushed it. Just as the dragon dissipated, Zhuo Fan's gesture changed again. Second heaven. Roar! Roar! 2 golden dragons charged this time. Shocked, the man never saw this array forming 2 dragon images. This exceeded his understanding of the coiling dragon array. But it wasn't something out of his control. Both of his arms moved and the dragons were crushed under black chains. Even before the man could take a breather, Zhuo Fan shouted 2 times. Third heaven. 3 dragons took to the skies. Fourth heaven. And the 4th dragon appeared. 5th heaven, 6th heaven, 9th heaven. A total of 9 golden dragons roamed the skies as their fearsome roars echoed everywhere. Every great clan in the city burrowed deeper into their homes, without daring to make a peep. This battle was by far the most horrifying one in their lives. The man was gasping for breath and looked appalled at the majestic scene. Never in his wildest dream could he ever conceive that a chi condensation child was able to control such an imposing array. This isn't the coiling dragon array. The man saw the 9 golden dragons setting their vicious sights on their enemy, him. Zhuo Fan gave a cruel grin. This is the 5th grade array, 9 heavens coiling dragon array. Try it, if you have the nerve. After a deep look at Zhuo Fan, the man cackled, how amusing. To think a kid can control a 5th grade array. I am more and more intrigued. For the last time, will you join Hell Valley? The man's fervent look was akin to gazing upon a priceless treasure. But he only received disdain. I've never once considered joining a rundown place like yours. Since you chose to keep that road shut, the only path left is to your death. The man flew like the wind, with all his killing intent focused on Zhuo Fan. Zhuo Fan was but a teenager, but the ruthless and calculative mind coupled with his preeminent talent left the man with dread for the future. It was best to avoid any future mishaps and kill him on the spot. Zhuo Fan was clear of Elder Yun's intention and with a hand sign from him, he sent the 9 dragons to attack the Elder. 9 dragon tails charged. An ear-piercing sound came and the man had to come face to face with the awe-inspiring power of 9 dragon tails, stopping him dead in his tracks. His only choice was to unleash his black chains, hoping their power was enough. Rumble. Under the shaking sky and spinning ground, the man's chains and the dragon tails clashed. It resulted in him being sent flying. He flew 50 meters before landing, puking blood the first instance his body made contact with the ground. Even if Lei Yuntian did not die from this attack, he'd still be sporting heavy wounds. However, the 9 golden dragons charged into battle as well. Elder Yun had no choice but to soar up and use the silver light from his weapon to cut the dragons in 2. The dragons were unable to stop his assault as he inched closer to Zhuo Fan. It's best I kill you first. Chapter 38, Scary Zhuo Fan. Chapter 38, Scary Zhuo Fan. Looking for proofreaders for this novel. Boom. A grand explosion rumbled the skies above the small courtyard as the dragon ignited the heavens in a flash of gold. The shockwave even put pressure on the building, despite being so far, while other houses crumbled in the aftermath. Deafening noise from the explosion attacked people's ears even as they covered them up and laid trembling on the ground. This sound attack lasted for a full minute. But nothing could erase that dreadful image from their hearts, nothing. 100 miles out, 2 men in black fought as they fled from Long Zhou's group. Where is that bastard Jian Fan? Long Zhou's anger spiked when he caught no sight of his mortal enemy, son of a dash, that old dog must have left these 2 to stall us. Forget it. Third Elder glared with killing intent, let's finish off these 2 first. Under the 3 elders' united assault, the 2 men in black were sweating bullets, having no choice but to fight. Then, a dreadful noise came from Veiled Dragon Pavilion's direction, followed by a golden light that lit up the whole sky. The 5 people stopped their attack and stood in shock. What was that? Did another expert appear? Third elder felt his ears rumbling and sucked in a cold breath, but, which expert could have unleashed such a move? Retreat! With no time to waste, third elder shouted as he flew back to Veiled Dragon Pavilion. He was far more worried about its well-being than the death of these two Hell Valley elders. Though Long Zhuo was unwilling, he followed the third elder with a sigh. Seeing the three Veiled Dragon Pavilion elders retreat, the two men in black let out a sigh of relief, yet were still puzzled by how the events turned out. They knew an elder was there to make sure the plan didn't go south. But even that elder wasn't powerful enough for this kind of feat, plus, a bunch of chi condensation insects didn't garner such a heavy hand either. The answer was quite simple in this case. Another expert much stronger than Elder Yun showed up. Hearts heavy with worry, the two discarded any plans of going there to assist Elder Yun. They feared that the Veiled Dragon Pavilion's three elders might set a trap. So, they took the only viable choice, retreat. Elder Yun, you're on your own. At the small courtyard, Lei Yuntian watched the night sky slack-jawed. He thought Zhuo Fan wanted him to bait Elder Yun and leave him open for a sneak attack. He went with it despite knowing he was a dead man. As long as Luo clan survived, it was worth dying for. But Zhuo Fan defied his imagination. He still acted as bait but did not pay the ultimate price. While the enemy was caught unaware, the lad sprung up with a devastating blow that took Elder Yun's life, leaving no remains. Recalling the sky-blazing aftermath, Lei Yuntian shuddered. Not only was he surprised, but also shocked. A Hell Valley's elder, a profound heaven expert, died in one move. This kid is terrifying. Old man Lei. Zhuo Fan caught his breath and stood up weakly. Lei Yuntian heard him and rushed over to hear his instructions. His faith in the kid had once again strengthened. This was no longer just gratitude for having saved him or faith in a youth's potential, but the respect for the strong. Steward Zhuo, if there's anything you want done, just tell me. Zhuo Fan nodded. Old man Lei, I'll leave Luo clan in your care while I go bring young Miss Lei back. No worries, they'll have to pass over my dead body before they can harm a hair of Yunhai and Yunchang. Lei Yuntian nodded with resolve. Zhuo Fan showed a relieved smile and went after Lei Yuding. Hell Valley had left only one elder here and he too was dead now. Seeing how no other enemy popped up while fighting, Zhuo Fan was certain Hell Valley only sent 4 men in total, including the ones Veiled Dragon Pavilion's elders were chasing. Under a profound heaven expert's careful watch, the Luo clan siblings' safety was guaranteed. So he could devote all his attention to saving that foolish girl. To be on the safe side, he picked up the Savage Moon first. A third-grade demonic treasure shouldn't be wasted. Yang Ming ran like mad while clutching his chest in the gloomy forest. He was injured from the smack he got from Zhuo Fan's array, but Elder Yun's slap made it worse. His mind was clouded and breath ragged. As for the dreadful explosion before, he didn't have the time to waste on it. But he was shocked nonetheless, finding it inconceivable for Elder Yun and Zhuo Fan's fight to escalate to such degree. Stop! A clear and angry shout came from behind, freezing Yang Ming in place. He turned to see Lei Yuding watching him with complex emotions. Making sure she was alone and double-checking Zhuo Fan wasn't there, Yang Ming relaxed and showed a wicked grin. Junior sister, you want to stop me all by yourself? Frowning, Lei Yuding's eyes turned misty. For my godfather, I will help him get rid of such a traitorous disciple. Ha ha ha, traitorous disciple. I was never one of you in the first place. Yang Ming mocked her. Moreover, do you think you can kill me with your strength? Even if we are to die together, at least I can repay godfather's kindness for raising me. Lei Yuding's eyes glittered with tears as she stared at him right in the eye. I just want to know, did you ever love me? Black demonic energy drifted from Yang Ming's hand as he sneered, I am a genius disciple of Hell Valley. If I am ever to marry, I would choose from among the 7 houses. How can I be tied down with the likes of you? Tears fell unabated, but Lei Yuding hardened her determination. Then from now on, we are through. Lei Yuding followed her last word with lightning flickering between her fingers. Yang Ming laughed, hardly afraid, and fought back with the black-colored hand. In the clash between the freezing palm and the flickering lightning, sparks flew. However, Yang Ming dodged lightning finger at the last second and struck down Lei Yuding with no remorse. Lei Yuding saw his evil grin and came to terms with the outcome, closing her eyes for death to take her. It was then that a flash of red struck Yang Ming's black palm. Bam! Yang Ming was sent flying and coughed blood in midair. An infant's cry came from the red light as it flew into a bush. Waking from her stupor, Lei Yuding saw Yang Ming heavily wounded on the ground and the weakened red light among the bushes. She knew it was Zhuo Fan's blood infant. She stood there in a daze, muttering as she glanced at blood infant, "Was it you who saved me?" The blood infant tried to fly again, only to collapse. She did not know of the inseparable bond between Zhuo Fan and the blood infant, however, she knew it was something he treasured. But even so, to think that Zhuo Fan would send his treasure to save her. Lei Yuding began to feel warm inside. When she turned her focus to Yang Ming, only killing intent remained in her eyes. Walking over, Lei Yuding's fingers crackled with lightning. Yang Ming was panicking, wanting to flee but hardly had the energy to get up. "Sister Yuding, have mercy. Remember how close we were. Remember how we used to laugh." Yang Ming shrank backwards while begging. "Now I want to kill you even more." Snorting, her fingers struck without hesitation. "Wait, spare me," Yang Ming wailed, but there was no one to hear his cry. Bam! When Lei Yuding's attack was about to land, a tremendous power blew her away. A bald elderly landed next to Yang Ming. "Elder Jian!" Yang Ming cried out. He took Elder Jian as his savior, having pulled him out of the jaws of death. Never had he been so thrilled to meet an elder from his house. Throwing a side glance at the wounded kid, he bellowed, "How did you fall so low? What about the plan?" Yang Ming's face fell and shook his head, unclear. "Elder Jian wanted to kick this worthless thing away. You are the one most knowledgeable about this plan and yet you come to me saying it's unclear? The house's expense was heavy in this decade-long plan, and this is your answer?" If Elder Jian didn't need to hear the kid's report, he would have killed him right then and there. "Forget it, we'll speak of it when we return." A figure made itself notice as it walked next to Lei Yuding, striking a sinister grin. "Do all elders from Hell Valley like to pick on juniors?" "Zhuo Fan!" Lei Yuding cried in joy as her heart found peace. Chapter 39, Killing Another Profound Heaven Cultivator. Chapter 39, Killing Another Profound Heaven Cultivator. "You again." Elder Jian squinted his eyes at the savage moon in shock. "Why do you have that demonic treasure? What happened to Elder Yun?" Grinning, Zhuo Fan pointed savage moon at Elder Jian. "Oh, you recognize it." Jian Fan's mind was in chaos. "Don't tell me, how can that old guy die at the hands of a pup?" But the more he looked at the demonic treasure, the more Jian Fan felt shock, hatred, and above all, confusion. Be that as it may, but no Hell Valley's demonic treasure was allowed to fall into an outsider's hand. Elder Jian then saw the naked killing intent in Zhuo Fan's eyes. Aware of the other's intention, Zhuo Fan snickered as he sent a whisper to Lei Yuding, "Listen, aim for the old man's heart and close your eyes as you attack with lightning finger. Ignore everything else." She turned to him in shock. "How can I hit him if I close my eyes? We won't win against a profound heaven cultivator regardless." But she soon recalled Zhuo Fan's unscrupulous character and understood his intention. The only reason he saved her was to use her as a live bait to throw into the jaws of death. Lei Yuding nodded despondently. She was already prepared to die when she made the decision to come here. Zhuo Fan curled his finger, making blood infant return to his body unnoticed as he shouted, "Now!" Zhuo Fan went first and Lei Yuding followed his plan by closing her eyes and using lightning finger. Startled, Elder Jian didn't expect them to move first. But he didn't mind, as a profound heaven cultivator's defense wasn't something a chi condensation cultivator could pierce. The only danger to his life was posed by that savage moon. As such, Zhuo Fan had his complete focus. Lei Yuding charged the lightning with her eyes closed, ignoring everything, while Zhuo Fan flitted left and right. Elder Jian sneered, turning a blind eye to the girl. When she was near Elder Jian, Zhuo Fan flashed in front of her and attacked with Savage Moon. It was a simple thing for Jian Fan to grab Zhuo Fan's hand and snap it in two. Humph, don't think a petty diversion is enough to trick my eyes. I've lived far longer than you. Smoke and mirrors won't work on me. Jian Fan sneered. Yet, it still has. Zhuo Fan's smile remained. Suddenly, Elder Jian's heart was filled with unease. Before he could make clear as to why, a red light flew from Zhuo Fan into his body. From Zhuo Fan's broken arm, blood spurted out like a stream and dyed the trees red. Jian Fan watched Zhuo Fan with rage. It was you back then. He now knew what had entered his body not too long ago and allowed the three elders from Veiled Dragon Pavilion to use that chance and tear one of his arms. Zhuo Fan grinned. You're brave, I'll give you that, to rob me of my arm. Jian Fan gnashed his teeth. Once I get out of your demonic creature's control, I'll tear you to pieces. Elder Jian focused all his yuan qi into his body while talking. Zhuo Fan smiled, despite sensing the increasing pressure on Blood Infant. Elder Jian, you've been tricked yet again. Lightning crackled as Lei Yuding's fingers came from behind Zhuo Fan and struck Jian Fan's chest. Watching Zhuo Fan's eerie smile with doubt, Elder Jian's eyes bulged out from grievance and unwillingness to die like this. Elder Jian, you were wrong. I was the distraction. Zhuo Fan smiled despite the blood leaking from his mouth. You only paid attention to Savage Moon, but you forgot your wounded state. Weakened as you are now, you no longer have the same amount of yuan qi as before, ha ha ha. The fear in Elder Jian's eyes grew thick. Such a cunning and vicious youth. How horrifying. This was how the expert Jian Fan breathed his last breath. Zhuo Fan used himself as bait while leaving the final blow to Lei Yuding. Each step was filled with perils. The slightest mistake, the slightest hesitation would have meant death. Yet when Zhuo Fan was involved, everything they did was as if they were dancing to his tune, resulting in Elder Jian's ultimate demise. It was especially so when Zhuo Fan blocked Elder Jian from noticing the real danger hiding behind him, Lei Yuding's lightning fingers. Two chi condensation juniors killing a profound heaven expert. If anyone spoke of this, none would believe it. Plop. Zhuo Fan collapsed in his own blood. Lei Yuding was crying in despair when she saw this. She thought Zhuo Fan wanted her to act as bait, but it exceeded her expectations when he took the most dangerous role onto himself. All kinds of emotions swept her heart, pain, warmth and even something Yang Ming never managed to stir. Zhuo Fan, forgive me. Lei Yuding kneeled at his side, watching his pale face. Zhuo Fan waved, this isn't your fault. When Blood Infant was wounded, I also suffered internal injuries. He recalled Blood Infant from Elder Jian's corpse. This time, it'll take a lot more time to heal. His wounds mattered little when compared to Blood Infant's, which represented his life. This only worked to increase Lei Yuding's flow of tears. She now knew that the demonic creature wasn't a treasure, but something bound to his life. Yet even in such a perilous state, he chose to take a life-threatening hit for her. She began to see Zhuo Fan with different eyes, but Zhuo Fan himself couldn't care less. Zhuo Fan pointed at Jian Fan, search him. A Hell Valley elder has to have valuable things on him. Alright. Lei Yuding used her highly dexterous hands to complete this task with such skill that Zhuo Fan couldn't help but raise an eyebrow. A bandit sure is skilled. Once Jian Fan was picked clean, Lei Yuding returned to Zhuo Fan. In her entire life, this was the first time she ever lowered her head in shame from doing something so unbecoming of her. But he couldn't care less about the reason why she was hiding her face. As she strewed the things before Zhuo Fan, she kept avoiding his eyes. Zhuo Fan found it odd but didn't care and started to rummage through Elder Jian's stuff. The first and foremost thing that caught his eye was the storage ring, and soon found what he was looking for inside. A light flashed and 2 jade slips appeared in his hand: Lei Clan's spiritual ranked martial art, Lightning Finger, and Kai Clan's martial art, Wind Kick. He was clueless as to the secret involving the 3 clans' martial arts but did not hesitate in taking them into his own ring. What was left were some cultivation methods, martial arts and spirit stones. Zhuo Fan, as a former demonic emperor, couldn't care less about those and threw the ring to Lei Yuding. According to Bandit's rule, half belongs to you. Lei Yuding shook her head. The old man was your kill. They are yours. I don't want them, he has nothing of value. Zhuo Fan smiled and turned his eyes to a bag. It was only as big as a palm, but Zhuo Fan knew of its remarkable quality. It was a bag that could store living creatures. And what laid within was none other than the soul-devouring crow. Stashing it in his chest, Zhuo Fan smiled pleasantly. It held the largest interest to him. Who knew, he might even discover the secret of the purple lightning gold eye. Zhuo Fan, at least take the ring. Lei Yuding was shocked at the ring's contents and still decided to give it to Zhuo Fan. I know Luo clan is wealthy, but there are some spirit-ranked martial arts and cultivation methods inside which are of far greater value than mere spirit stones. It will provide great help in restoring your clan. Zhuo Fan shrugged as he weighed the ring. Such trashy things I have in heaps. There's nothing rare or great about them. If you don't want it, I'll just throw it. He was about to do just that when Lei Yuding took the ring from his hand. How can you be such a wastrel, to not even want spirit-ranked martial arts? How did you manage to become a steward anyway? With how you act, Luo clan's money will get flushed down the drain. Zhuo Fan smiled as he put Jian Fan's corpse into his ring. Time to head back. Veiled Dragon Pavilion has some explaining to do. Lei Yuding nodded and rushed to support him. As Zhuo Fan was far too weakened, he could only lean onto her shoulder, tinting her cheeks red in the process. Wait! Zhuo Fan stopped to look around. Where's Yang Ming? Lei Yuding looked everywhere but there was no sight of Yang Ming. They forgot about him in the heat of the battle. Curses, he got away. Lei Yuding gnashed her teeth. Zhuo Fan shook his head. No need to bother with an insect. But then he recalled his disciple, Zhao Chen, and killing intent flashed in his eyes. But even insects can spell trouble. The next time I see him, he's dead. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.